Wondery Plus subscribers can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free right now. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Everybody, and welcome back to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Yay, indeed, Jimmy. Yay, indeed. My name is James Petrogallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmy Wissman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us today on a home stretch episode of Crime and Sports. We got a month left of this bad boy. There's, 4 episodes left, I believe, after this? So, or maybe this is, I don't know, somewhere in the neighborhood of 4. So we have saved the best for last, obviously, because, that's what we do. We're comics, so what you do on stage is your best joke goes last. So that's our thing here. You
call it a closer. It closes the show.
That's it. You're closing it out, and that's because you want to leave on the high note. So we are going to leave. We hope that at the end of this month, you're going to be so disappointed that the show's over that it's not even funny. That's what we're trying to leave you with. Oh, no. Why'd they go? Well, crazy episode. Oh, I've been saving this episode for years, and then something happened this year that made the episode so much more amazing. So I'm so happy we waited for this. Very quickly, if you want to check out 2023 Small Town Murder tour dates, you can see them now at shutupandgivememurder.com. Whole slate of them for 2023. We cannot wait. Check all those out. They're on the website, and
they're up there. Yeah.
We might be coming near you. We'll put it that way. And
near for sure.
Near for sure. Yeah. Somebody said, "Well, you're here. Why can't you be here?" I was like, "That's not near my house where we're going at all." So you might have to drive a little
very far.
Yeah, we're going really far. You can go a little far, but no. Here we go. Also, patreon.com/crime and sports is where you get all the bonus stuff.
Yes.
Whole back catalog to binge. Anybody $5 or above, you get it all. Every other week, you're going to get 2 new episodes, 1 Crime and Sports, 1 Small Town Murder. You get access to it all, and that will continue even after the show's ending.
Yes.
Even after the show ends. Still Crime and Sports. It lives on Patreon. This week, what we're going to talk about, the accusations at Ben Roethlisberger. I was going to say of Ben Roethlisberger, but they're really at him. He has had won Super Bowls and all that, big hero in Pittsburgh, and really has had some nasty shit that he's been accused of in the past. Some real nasty stuff, and we'll talk about all of it there on this week's episode. And then for Small Town Murder, it's the prisoner dating game is back.
Hell yes.
Oh, baby. You guys know what that is, I hope. I'm going to take 4 incarcerated bachelors, 4 incarcerated bachelorettes based on nothing but their online dating profiles, because they have those for prisoners. I'm going to present them to Jimmy. They're all violent felons, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
He has no idea who they are or what they've done, just the description, and he's going to pick one of each, and we are going to decide. Then he gets to find out who he's picked. What terrible crime has this person done? Oh, it's going to be so much fun.
Who's my suitor or suitorette?
That's right. Patreon.com/crime and sports is where you get that and more, and a shout out at the end of the show as well.
Oh, yeah.
That said, I think it's time to get into this because we got a whole lot of insanity this week.
A heap of it? All right.
This is one of those this story, there's so much crime, there's so much insanity. Even his sports stuff is insane. Even that's crazy. So Let's do it with Hector Luis Camacho Matias Jr.
What?
Of course.
Is that right?
Hector Macho Camacho. Do you know of Hector Macho Camacho, Jimmy?
I love him. He's wonderful. What a boxer.
He's one of the first guys to make his ring entrance a big showpiece. Yeah. Wearing a crazy costume, having a bunch of people, having crazy music. That didn't go down back then like that. Yeah. Ali had a little bit of a thing. Couple guys had something, but this is like what guys do now. It's a big giant presentation. It's like wrestling, where the ring entrance is just as important as the match or the fight. So,
but what a boxer! Holy shit!
Oh, he's a great fighter. He's a great fighter. He is one of the guys I remember growing up. My stepmother's father, I've said, was a boxing trainer, and he had a gym. And guys would train in there, and he had all the equipment and a fucking ring, and on the walls were covered in, boxers from magazines just put up everywhere and like things. And I remember there was a shitload of Macho Camacho up there. I remember as like a little kid being like, wow, this guy's fucking crazy. I remember just watching him, like reading the articles about him and looking at his crazy haircuts and ring outfits, and he's got his hair cut like a goddamn checkerboard. He's wearing just a giant Puerto Rican flag outfit he's nuts. He's funny as shit. So he's born May 24th, 1962. Oh. Here, he's an older guy here.
60-year-old man.
60. He was born in Bayamon, Puerto Rico here, which is one of the cities that make up the San Juan area. It's a suburb of San Juan, I guess, here. So he's born there. His parents are, of course, Hector Luis Camacho Sr., him being junior, obviously. This is so much. This is double junior. He's a junior, and we'll talk about his kid. It's a lot. So, and his mother's name is Maria Matias. That's where that comes from. He's the second youngest of 5. His younger brother, Felix, is also a boxer, and we'll talk about his record and what he does, Felix Camacho, and so is Hector's son as well. So,
is that right?
A lot of boxing in this family. He's got sisters named Raquel, Estrella, and Esperanza.
He's got an Esperanza.
There's an Esperanza in that family. It's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a fun name to yell across the house. Esperanza! You stole my Nintendo game! Esperanza! It's very, you can really, from a mountaintop. Esperanza!
It's a good name.
Very solid. So when he was 3, his parents separated.
Oh?
So, his parents separate, and his mother moves everybody to New York.
Oh.
And that's where he grows up. Yeah, so he ends up growing up in New York. He grows up in Spanish Harlem. That's where they live. The James Weldon Johnson Housing Project in Spanish Harlem.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, he comes up tough times up there in Spanish Harlem.
And that's likely an upgrade from a suburb of San Juan?
At the time, possibly.
Yeah, it's possible,
It was deteriorating badly during the 60s, and then the 70s is like the heyday, and then crack came in the early. So, I mean, it was falling apart pretty bad at that point. But Camacho attends 6 different high schools, they say. This isn't like a year, like 2 years, because he gets kicked out of all of them, and then he's not in school after a while. He gets kicked out of schools left and right. He's a hyperactive maniac. What you see in the ring, and to describe him quickly, I guess, we kind of have to give an overview of this guy as a boxer. First of all, you need to Google search a picture of Hector Macho Camacho in the ring or on the ring entrance, something like that, where you can see the flamboyance of the outfits and he always had a crazy quote. It was his whole style. Everybody says that's not an act. That's just how he is.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a quote later on where they're like, yeah, you know how most guys, they'll do this big flamboyant act and they change into street clothes and they leave. Right. This guy puts on a crazier outfit and then goes out in the street. He's a different kind of cat.
He puts on a lion skin and leaves.
And then he just, one with the head just sitting above with like an open mouth, sitting on top of his head. That's the type of shit he would wear with a giant.
He walks down the street.
He has a huge, excuse me, by the way, I'm sorry if my voice is a little bit bad this week. We got back from the road. Yeah. Just got back from the road, and I think I caught some Oklahoma in there somewhere. I don't know. We were in Oklahoma. I'm not sure what that is. They just call it the Oklahoma funk.
Brick town out of you.
I think I'm still trying to get it out. That walk to 7-Eleven that I made, and this was great. I walked to 7-Eleven at 11 o'clock at night, and I took an Uber back because it was like over a half a mile away and it was freezing outside. Yeah. So I take an Uber back and I get in the car and he goes, "You walked here?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Congratulations on being alive." And then he pulled out of the parking lot. It's like, I don't think this is a good neighborhood. So that's why I caught something. Yeah. So he's always getting in trouble. He's always getting into street fights. He's getting into will talk about shoplifting and car theft and all sorts of street shit. He's running around on the street. Yeah. He's like defiant to his mom too, in a way that's, it's very strange. There's a guy named Pat Flannery, and he's a language teacher in his high school, and he helped Hector learn to read at age 15.
Yikes.
Yeah, so he went till 15 without even knowing how to read, which is a reason also why he would be cutting up if he doesn't understand anything that's going on in school because he can't read. He's going to try to distract from that.
Yeah,
don't call on me.
Right.
Don't call on me. I'm standing on my desk, jumping up and down, saying I'm the Macho Man. You don't.
Yeah.
I'm not the guy to ask to read the poetry.
Sit down and read page 6.
Exactly. So he taught him to read, and according to Hector, he acted like a father figure to him because Hector didn't have his dad around. And Flannery says, quote, "Try to imagine him in a classroom, vaulting through an open window with a window pole, jumping over podiums." He said that's how he would just bounce around. He said that he never did anything bad, really. He said, quote, "He was just playful, though really playful, never did anything remotely evil." He says. So it wasn't really bad shit. He was just a pain in the ass because he's got
there's some
way too much energy. Yeah, exactly.
It was replaceable.
He'll get into things. He's more the type you go, "Oh, Hector, what are you doing, man?" You know, like, come on. Not like, "Oh my God, he's hurting that kid. He just put a knife to somebody's throat." That's not really his game in school.
Okay.
So he gets into shoplifting. And he said he loved it. He said he learned to shoplift at a young age. He loved shoplifting. He said it was great. You just walk in and you take shit for free that you don't have the money for. It's amazing. He thought of it as like, did nobody ever think of this before? You just take it. So
I also loved it. Was a big fan.
Well, Hector, he's on another level, I think, though, as we'll talk about here. Not just one Sega Genesis game here. We're talking about
what was he doing?
Okay. His mother at one point, he had built up a collection of 30 G.I. Joe figures that he stole. Okay.
Okay.
That's pretty good. We're talking, those are the big boys from the 60s, early 70s, not your little.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, we're talking the fucking
these things had hair,
guys. Yeah, they're big. They're not the little fuckers. You can hide them all over. These big things are huge. They come in a big box and everything. He had 30 of them that he'd stole, and his mother found them and said, "Well, you don't have any money, and I didn't buy these for you, so you must have stole them." So she took them all and threw them in the incinerator.
Oh, my God.
How about the Salvation Army, or I don't know, whatever your charity is, the church down the street that gives out toys at Christmas? How about that?
Incinerator? Or just let me keep them. I'm a hero to myself.
At least, they're there anyway. Or, you know what you do, actually, if you really want to fuck, give them all to his brother. That's what you do. You're not allowed to play with them, Hector. Only your brother is. He would hate that. That's what you do.
He's won 30 times, Mom. Just let him be.
Well, his quote about it in Sports Illustrated at later date is wild. He says, quote, "The next day I come back, I got 34 G.I. Joes. Got the airplane, got the helicopter, got a starship."
What?
He went out and just stole the entire G.I. Joe line and brought it home. Was like, "What's up with that? You throw these away, I'll get fucking Stretch Armstrong 2 tomorrow. I'll come back with all the G.I. Joes, Stretch Armstrong, and a set of jarts. Don't test me. Test me, bitch, I swear." He's all about it.
Replaced it, and I got Cobra. Suck it.
Suck it. Suck these Cobra nuts. So that's what he's got here. He finds boxing, and Flannery kind of guides him into it because it's like, "Hey, you have lots of energy and aren't real good at reading. You like to punch things. Maybe this is good for you, you know?"
Yeah.
So he learned to box, and he also took karate when he was a teenager as well.
Okay.
Which, as a teenager in the mid-'70s, was
that was a thing.
Peak of karate-dom. Everybody, Bruce Lee was like everybody's favorite human being back then. So
that is fascinating that every generation has had a martial artist guy that's been like the guy. You know what I mean? From Bruce Lee on, there's always been a guy.
It's always been trying to fill the Bruce Lee role, which no one ever has, because Bruce Lee was a cultural. I mean, he was a different type of thing, man. I mean, that was everybody tried to be Bruce Lee. Like people watch Jackie Chan and they were like, hey, look at him bounce around. But it wasn't like, oh, I got to be him. Nobody thought that.
The difference is Bruce Lee had philosophy mixed in with it all. You know what I mean? It was being a good person, not just fighting people. Jackie Chan was being bullied and everything.
Yeah. He always played a dumb guy who could just happen to be. And it was almost like oh, wow, I didn't even know I could fight was the look on his face. Wow, I know how to do this somehow. Like he'd been programmed at another time.
Yeah.
See,
I just tied a bunch of people together with a piece of rope, and I didn't even know I could do that.
and then swung a ladder around my neck, and I hit everybody. Right. It was cool.
I've never climbed a ladder. I've never tied my shoes.
I don't even know anything. I don't know how to tie. I wear Velcro since I was 5. The sad part is, our age growing up, our martial arts icon was Ralph Macchio, so that's even sadder. That was ours, and for me especially. No, for me it was like there's just an Italian kid from Jersey. Yeah, he's the best karate guy in the world. Look at him go! You put your fists together, swing them back and forth like that fucking thing. I don't care how much bigger he is. If you're doing this since he was 2 fucking years old, you could beat him that way. That was Karate Rocky is what I've always called it. It was just Karate Rocky. I swear to God.
I like Van Damme. And his movies were so dumb. He's a horrible actor.
They were bad. Yeah, they were like that fucking accent. I have a hard time understanding him. I have a hard time understanding him sometimes. It's one of those accents.
All he's saying is, I'm going to punch you in the face.
That's true. I guess if you're threatening a throat punch, you don't really need nuance of language at that point. Yeah, I guess you're right. You're right, Jimmy. When you're right, you're right, man.
Yeah, listen, if you're punching somebody, you can suck all the croissant you want.
If you can kick 2 guys that are on the opposite side of you at the same time, I feel like at that point your talking is really null and void. Doesn't really
suck a croissant and say
much.
Whatever you want. Doesn't matter.
Suck my croissant is what he's saying to people. And then he kicks them in the face. So anyway, here he's Camacho enters Gold Glove competitions and things like that, and does amateur boxing. People see immediately that he's got talent for it. Number 1, he's got the energy. Number 2, he has no fear of. He really just doesn't have fear. He's one of those guys that. Whether he's driving 120 miles an hour or he's in the ring against, Felix Trinidad, he doesn't fear anything. He's just,
He'll eat a punch. Yeah, he's not afraid of it.
And he can never knocked out in his whole career. He fights 88 fights. Right? He never gets knocked out. He barely gets knocked down. And this is from, 135 up to welterweight, up to the, he was fighting 154 at the end, for Christ's sake. So,
is that right?
Yeah, well, he was in his 40s, so yeah, he put on a couple. Yeah. So his younger brother Felix ends up a 20-6 lifetime fighter as well.
Bad.
Felix Camacho. So he fights in the Gold Gloves by 1978. He's fought in the Gold Gloves. He has a son at age 15 as well.
What?
Oh yeah, he fathers a son at age 15, Hector Jr. Or
at 15.
At 15, or as he's known as Machito, Little Macho. So there he is, Little Macho. So that's the guy there. Junior here is Machito. He goes in his career, he ends up 58-7 in his career.
That's not bad.
No, it's fucking really good.
That's fucking amazing. For me to never have heard of him.
32 wins by knockout as well.
Wow.
So out of 58 wins. So, I mean, that's really good. He was known in 2007, 10, 14, and 16, he won the WBC Caribbean Boxing Federation light middleweight title. So
did he call him Hector the Junior because his dad's not around, and it's kind of like is that a slight to his dad? Because he's technically the third.
He's technically a third, but that's one of those where if you just call him, he's a junior, he's also a junior, I guess. You don't have to make him the third. He is a junior. I guess he cut his dad off like it didn't exist.
Yeah, right.
Later on, they call Hector, that we're talking about, not the son, they call him Hector Camacho Sr. So, yeah, just fuck my dad.
Yeah, that's a slight for sure.
I bet it is, yeah. So at this time, he's got all this going on. Gold Gloves, kid, shoplifting, G.I. Joe collections. He's got it all happening.
15.
Now he's stealing cars, and he's stealing cars before this, but this is when he starts to get caught a lot is the problem.
In New York.
In New York City, yeah. First time he's caught he's caught in a chase driving a Ford Pinto. He stole a Pinto. That's not very bright. I'm sorry.
He know?
You don't steal a Pinto.
Didn't they have a bad reputation for being a lemon when they first came out?
I don't know if I don't know. I think the first couple years, I think they were thought of as good cars, and then they said, "Oh shit, they explode. That's not good." And then they turned into the Samsung fucking whatever model phone of cars, and that was that. And then they were a joke for the rest of eternity. Yeah. So he takes a Pinto on a 30-block car chase. 30
Not
blocks.
Not a good car to be running from. If they pit maneuver you, that thing's going to explode.
You're going to pop. So, and then finally, he is also caught joyriding in a stolen car with a friend who's driving. So this apparently happens a lot, and this lands him in Rikers Island.
Oh, my.
And he's 16 years old. He serves 3.5 months in Rikers Island for Grand Theft Auto.
Holy shit.
That's hard. That's hard fucking time for a 16-year-old in Rikers. Yeah. But lucky for him, he's a fucking Gold Gloves boxer at this point, and not the first cat to fuck with, really. Even though he's small, he's a little guy. He's 130 pounds. Right. He'll light your ass up like a Christmas tree. I wouldn't want to mess with him.
Yeah.
So he serves that. He's kind of like, he says later on, quote, "It was my way of having fun, stealing cars."
Stealing cars.
Yeah, he said, "It was my way of having fun. If I stole a car, in my mind, I was borrowing it. It was just part of a game. I'm young, 15 or 16. I'm having fun. Can I get away with it or not? A game, right?"
Hector.
That's not... Hector.
You're a father.
Hector. Yeah. What would you tell your son about that, Hector? Jesus Christ. Now go back to math class. What the fuck is happening? You sophomore. He's 16. He's a child. This is ridiculous. This is why you don't have kids when you're 15, because you say things like, "Isn't it fun to steal cars? It's just a game."
It's a game.
Wow. So yeah, there was the big rumor around him was that he only took the best cars. He stole all these really nice cars. And there was like this big rumor later on that he would steal them and then he would wash them and wax them and do all that. And even that he would fill them up with gas and then return them to where he found them eventually.
Tired of seeing all these filthy cars with no gas in them.
Yeah, I'm going to take it for a little spin, but I'm going to bring it back to you better than when I got it. You know what I'm saying?
Really, I'm just wiping my fingerprints off it, but
that's all.
But the byproduct is that it's shiny.
They asked him, quote, "That part might be exaggerated," he says. He said, "Once I did fill a car up at a gas station and peel out without paying. So, yeah, I guess that could be filling up a victim's car." That's what he said.
Stole a car, stole gas. Why not?
Yeah, he's like, I filled that one up. I used it by driving around, but... So he ends up in jail, and he's a mess. And why is he here? And it's actually an older inmate that talks to him, somebody that had some respect, actually heard about, his life, and was like, "You're 16, you got a kid, you're a Gold Gloves boxer, like you're a real up-and-comer, no-shit boxer." And he said, quote, "What are you doing here? Fuck you doing here, dude?"
Yeah.
And Hector went, "Yeah, what the fuck am I doing here? This is stupid. Why am I doing this? I should take my car stealing time," because he wasn't even doing it for money. It was just fun. It wasn't like he had
it's a game.
Yeah, he wasn't like Gone in 60 Seconds in this shit. Right. Like, he didn't have a chop shop with an order. He's just picking it up, driving it around, fucking ditching it somewhere. That's stupid.
Not looking
it's fucking dumb.
A holy grail of vehicles. He's just grabbing a Buick because a Buick's available.
Yeah, he was driving a Pinto. That's proof that he was not discriminating about cars.
Yeah.
So his amateur fight career starts before this, and then there's you'll see that he ends up fighting 100 fights. I have a couple of them here. A lot of them are in the Felt Forum, Madison Square Garden, for the Golden Gloves. Right before he went to prison, he fights and wins the Sub-Novice Class Championship New York State Golden Gloves title. He does that. Then in 1979, he's in the 118-pound division of the New York State Golden Gloves, and he's kicking ass all through that. He becomes champion of that, beats a guy named Paul Divorce, which is a great name. Devorce. Paul
Almost,
Divorce.
But that's a good.
It's definitely pronounced divorce. That's what's great about it. Paulie Divorce. You go with Divorce, I think, if you're him. It's Divorce, all right? So he does all that. He also beats a guy named Jesse Torres for the New York versus Chicago Intercity Golden Gloves Championship. He beats him as well.
That's a thing?
Yeah, he's doing pretty good here. Here is a 1979. There's an article by a guy named Randy Gordon. It's not from 1979. This is from later on. But this guy knows him all the way back. He's a boxing writer, been around forever, also was involved in promotions, I think. And he's known him since Camacho was 15 years old. So he writes 40 years later, he writes an article about him. And he says, quote, I first met Camacho when he was a teenage amateur star fighting out of Spanish Harlem in New York City. When I began my career at Ring Magazine in 1979, Camacho used to come up to our Manhattan office on a regular basis. On a few occasions, he brought his infant son, Hector Jr., with him.
That's hilarious.
Always. As little Hector played, his dad talked about boxing with me and my staff. His presence and glow used to override even the thick cigar smoke from Bert Sugar's private paper-strewn office. That's great that Bert Sugar's in there smoking cigars. Yeah. That's awesome. He says, quote, Camacho visited my office regularly. He'd constantly tell Bert and me how he was going to be champ one day, saying, quote, it's inevitable that I'm going to be champ. Nothing can stop me. That's how he is. No fear. After a while, however, we realized his late teenage testosterone was running amok and that he was coming up to visit two of our lovely Puerto Rican secretaries at least as much as he was coming up to visit us. He loves ladies.
Yeah.
We're talking in public, in a car while he's driving. We'll talk about that. There's so many stories of him with women. He then goes on to say, quote, he was also there to visit two of the stock boys we employed to share a few lines of blow with them. I used to admonish them all, but it was of no use.
Wow.
As the habits of the stock boys grew and as the Ring records books disappeared at an alarming rate, Bert and I dismissed the stock boys, preserving the record books and other Ring material for consumers. Camacho didn't care. He still had his Puerto Rican beauties. They, on the other hand, wanted no part of his attraction to cocaine or his attraction to them. What they wanted was his charm and boyish charisma. Nothing more. They were smart. So that's him as a kid. He's just insatiable in every way, shape, or form. It's boxing, it's coke, it's attention, it's multiple women, it's this, it's that, it's going out, it's look at my outfit. He's all energy. He's human cocaine. Yeah. That's what he is. He's a human stimulant.
And he's been doing it.
Oh, yeah, he's good at it, too. I don't know how the hell he does it for so long. Either way, though, he's going in here. He wins all these Golden Gloves titles and everything like that. In his amateur career, he had 100 fights, apparently. And he was 96-4 in 100 fights as an amateur. And you could lose those. So they're 3-rounders with headgear on. So it's like you could lose those on points so easily.
Yeah, just
against somebody who's kind of slippery.
Yeah.
Or you better at not getting hit once in a while. Mm-hmm. So now the nickname Macho. Obviously, the word is in his last name,
right?
So it's not too hard to just cut the CA off.
I think his last name literally means very, very macho.
Mucho macho is his last name. He says that his father claims to have given him the nickname, saying that it was because he was his youngest son, so he called him Macho. Which I don't know why you would do that. The New York Times at one point printed that Pat Flannery, his teacher and mentor there, is the one who gave it to him during his teens. But Hector himself says that the nickname came because on job sites he was working when he was first starting out boxing, co-workers at a factory couldn't pronounce Camacho, so they just call him Macho. It was just easier to cut it off, so they all call, yo, Macho instead of Camacho.
How white are these people?
I don't know. It's
not that hard of a name.
Maybe he was training upstate somewhere, like way fucking upstate, like north of Customato. I have no goddamn idea because that's
maybe a little more west, over in fucking Reading or something.
They train in Lake Placid, but that's not till later. So one guy said, a lot of guys came in with outfits and costumes, but they go back to the locker room, they take them off, and they go walk out in their street clothes. Camacho was completely authentic. He was just as comfortable being outside of the ring as he was inside of the ring with some of these costumes. There's multiple people say that. He makes his pro debut September 12th, 1980 at the Felt Forum, which is the smaller arena inside Madison Square Garden, holds about 5,000.
Tiny little place.
Tiny little, well, Madison Square Garden holds 20, so, in comparison. It's he fights David Brown, who's 0-1-1, and Hector wins by points. Goes the 4 rounds is the distance here. So 1-0. Next up, a couple months later, December 12th, 1980, Felt Forum. He fights a guy who's 0-1 named Benny Llanos, and he's 0-4 for his career, so you know how this goes. Hector knocks him out in the first round for his first knockout. And 2-0. March 12th, 1981. So there's some lag there. It's for a young fighter. That's a big difference in time.
He's got a kid, man.
Really. He's working in a factory. Couldn't get off work. Felt Forum. He fights Herman Ingram, who also, I guess, after finding religion, changed his name to Hassan Ali. But I don't know if it was about religion or just the fact that he was 1-9-1 coming into this fight and ended up 6-23-1. Maybe he just wanted to hide a little bit after this embarrassing fucking career. Hector beats him by decision, 3-0. March 27th, 81. Which is a couple weeks later. Now he's fighting. He fights Robert Johnson, who's also 1-9-1 coming in. He fights 2 guys in a row whose records were 1-9-1. What are the odds of that? That sounds on purpose.
I'm pretty decent at math, but I don't know those odds.
That's pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
This Robert Johnson ends up 2-16-1 for his career, so not very good. Okay. Knockout in the first round for Hector here. In April of 81, he fights Jerry Strickland, who comes into the fight at 9-53.
Yikes, man.
9 wins, 53 losses. His career totals here, holy shit. 13 wins, 123 losses.
Holy shit.
What do you think?
How much money do you make for losing?
How long do you think it would take that guy to do a word search right now? Like an elementary school word search. Like a Thanksgiving, like turkey,
like
stuffing.
The kids menu word search?
Yeah, like a Denny's word search. What? 3-4 days, I think? Take it home with him? Put his fucking reading glasses on.
I'm going to finish this at home with the syrup all over it.
Yeah, I'm going to take this home with me. This will be good later. This will occupy my night.
It looks fun to color that cowboy.
I'm going to do that later.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. I'm going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
Have you ever gotten a message out of the blue? Maybe you ignore them. Or maybe you end up in conversation. Maybe they tell you about an amazing offer. I can really show you how to make some money. And maybe that gets you into a lot of trouble. But this isn't a story about people like you, the people receiving these messages. This is a story about the people behind the messages, on the other end of the line. Thousands of them, working in a microcity built for scammers. From Wondery, the makers of Dr. Death and Kill List, comes Scam Factory, a new series about survival at the expense of others. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
Oh, man, couldn't get it in the lines. So second round knockout for Hector. So now he's 5-0. He's knocking people out. He's knocked everybody out. Well, 3 out of 5 anyway. Doing well. In May, like a week later, May 2nd, he's fighting Tomas Enrique Diaz, who he's 1-4. He sucks. Hector beats him by decision. We'll go through these early ones quick here. May 16th, 81, at the Concord Resort Hotel in Kiamesha Lake. I don't know where I think that is Concord, New Hampshire, maybe? I don't know. Is that
I don't know if there's any other Concord. It's got to be New Hampshire, right?
Maybe. I have no idea. Either way, he fights a guy named Kato Ali, who is certainly, I hope, not related to any of the boxing Alis, because this guy's 0-6 coming in, and his career ends up at 0-17 before he finally calls it a day.
0-7.
Oh, and
you don't want to give it till 20?
I mean, what if you go past 10? I don't know. I don't know what to tell you at that point. If you fight 10 fights and lose them all, you quit. You're not a boxer anymore, right? It's over.
I mean, really, the point of boxing is that you're good at this, and if you've met 17 people in a row that are better than you,
I could go 0-17. You know, I could do that. No problem.
I'll bet I could go 1-16. I'll bet I could.
You just never know. You throw a couple haymakers, you might. Who knows if you get lucky? 0-17 is disgraceful. That's terrible.
I might catch a guy sleeping.
Yeah, who knows? So TKO and 7 for Hector here. He's 7-0. Next up, June 25th, 1981, Madison Square Garden, the main room, baby, not even a side room here. Yeah. He fights Marshall Santiago, who's 4-10. This goes all 8 rounds, unanimous decision for Hector. July 24th, 81, felt for him. Jesus Figueroa, 3-6-2, knockout in the first round, 9-0. You're seeing how this goes. So here's some more stuff from Randy Gordon here. He says, quote, after telling me what he planned to do on Mullins, who is the next guy he's fighting, he says Camacho completely changed directions in his conversation. Quote, how do you think you're going to die, Randy? He asked.
What?
They're just talking about a boxing match, and then he comes up with this. Quote, huh? I looked up from my editing, and Camacho said, how are you going to die? Did you ever think of that? He asked. I was 33, is what he's talking about. To be honest, Hector, the thought has never crossed my mind. Really? He responded. I think about that a lot. I think about what's going to happen at the end. He's like 18 years old at this point.
Why?
At what? And then the writer said, at what point and what do you come up with? Do you have the same answer, the same ending each time? Hector said, I do. I really do. Want to guess how I see myself going out?
I do.
He said, not really, is what the writer said. Hector said, come on, take a guess. I looked at him wearing a puzzled look and sort of squinting. Come on, he continued, take a guess. I reached for some ridiculous answers. A car wreck? He shook his head. A plane crash, I came back with? Again, a head shake. You're going to die in bed with 2 women. He laughed. That's a great way to go, but not how I picture me going out. I give up, I told him. Then he says, one more guess, he requested of me. You're going to die in the greatest round of action in the greatest action fight ever, I said. That would be pretty cool, he said, but no, that's not it. That would be pretty cool. It'd be pretty cool to die in the ring. A lot of boxers actually say that, though. It'd be pretty cool to die in the coolest. Yeah. So then he said, quote, how then do you see yourself dying, Hector? Tell me. The suspense is overwhelming. He said, I see myself going out in a blaze of gunfire. He said. He stared right at me. I stared back. How? I asked him. Will it be a firing squad somewhere? Are you going to hold up a bank and get taken down in a hail of SWAT team bullets as you try to escape? Where will you be when you buy the farm in a hail of bullets? He said, I don't know. I don't see a whole picture. I don't see any shooters. I just see me going out that way. He said, I shook my head and used his prophecy to segue onto another track. Actually, I just realized how you're going to go out, I told him. How? Cocaine, I said. Drugs, because he takes a shitload of coke. Yeah. He said, quote, come on, Randy, chill out. I appreciate the big brother stuff, but I can handle this. I'm just having some fun.
Stop being a bitch, Randy.
Yeah. If you're 18 years old and you're knocking out grown men in fucking fights every month, you feel invincible at that. Cocaine? Are you kidding me?
Probably do what
please.
you want.
Yeah. Bitch, please. I am taking mad coke is what he's thinking. And this is 81, too, is still the, coke's, it's not bad. It's
still innocent, yeah.
It's still pretty innocent at that point. So September 16th, 1981, Madison Square Garden, he fights Robert Mullins, who's 25-2 coming into the fight here. This ends up being TKO in round 6, 10-0 for Mr. Camacho. November 5th, 81, he fights Anthony Murray, who's 5-1 coming into the fight. This goes all 10 rounds, unanimous decision for Hector, 11-0. December 11th, 81, he's fighting for a title here. It's a shit title, but he's fighting for a title. It is the North American Boxing Federation Super Featherweight title.
NABF Super Featherweight.
Yeah. That's the shit one, NABF. It's at the Felt Forum. It's against a guy named Blaine Dixon. That sounds like one of the Constance Fry. That's Blaine. Blaine, we need 4, Blaine, please. Take your place in line. You're the alto. Fucking douches. So he's 15-3, Blaine. This goes all 12 rounds where Hector wins a unanimous decision and his first belt since the Golden Gloves.
Hey,
he's 12-0. February 15th, 82, Richmond Hill Arena in Richmond Hill, New York. He fights Jorge Nina, who is 1-12 coming into the fight, and will end up 3-24. Jesus. People are just gluttons for punishment. I guess it's an extra couple $100 every once in a while is probably the way they're looking at it,
I don't know.
But
I can't imagine.
All you have to do to train, though?
Yeah,
that's not worth it.
Worse, a couple $100 you make in a week at work. I'd rather just work a week and not get punched in the face 300 times.
Well, yeah, I generally don't have to go to the hospital after every shift either, so that's helpful.
Rather take the hypothetical kick in the nuts than actually getting punched square in the nose.
Over and over and over. Unanimous decision in 8 rounds, so Hector beat this guy up for 8 rounds, and then he went back to work doing whatever he did. March 31st, 82, Rafael Lopez he's fighting at the Felt Forum. This time, Rafael is 16-1. So this is the first.
Oh, this is a real fighter.
Good fighter he's fought. And Macho TKO in the 3rd round over this guy.
Is that right?
He brings it. 14-0 for Macho. May 21st, 82 against Refugio Rojas.
Oh.
Refugio. We come from a long line of refugees. This is my son, Refugio.
He's the red refugee.
Yeah, the red refugee. He's 21-9, the red refugee, and he might be running for the hills after this because he's knocked down 3 times in the first round, the red refugee.
Holy
and
shit.
It is a TKO. It's waved off because the three knockdown rule was in effect. 15-0 for Macho. July 11th, 82, he fights Louis Loy, who's 15-0-1. Again, good fighter, and Macho knocks him out, or TKO in the 7th round, bringing him to 16-0. August 28th, 82, the Sands Casino, Atlantic City. Yeesh.
Oh, I didn't know there was one there.
Yeah, neither did I, honestly. I almost wrote Vegas. I'm like, oh, it's in Atlantic City, this shithole. Wow.
That one is a piece of shit in Vegas. It's got to be real bad in Jersey.
It was cool in like 62, but I mean, by the time 82 came around, I think they were blowing it up pretty soon.
Smells moist in here.
Yeah. When did they blow that up? Like late 80s?
I don't know.
Early 90s or something?
I just found out there was one there. I don't know.
No, I meant in Vegas. They blew up
in
the
Vegas?
Sands.
Yeah, that was when they were...
Early 90s, I think.
When they were really turning that place into somewhere that rich people go. They wanted the dumps to go away. That one and the boardwalk. And
people are scared of that one, yeah.
The boardwalk had you got Circus down the way that's all clowns all day long, all the time. The boardwalk just had one clown out front with like a big lollipop that moved. It's creepy
just looking
as
like it's
fuck.
Trying to lure in children. Come on in here. There's a whole room full of pedophiles waiting on it. Think that clown will bring them in? Sure it will.
Horrifying place.
Circus. It's too many clowns. It's overwhelming. Our one clown gives them something to focus on.
I stated that Circus, the carpet was different than the carpet rail around the side. You know that one?
Yeah.
The
a lot
floor
of the Vegas
was
places
different.
do that.
It was so gross.
That's very popular on the old strip.
What happened in here? They had
to replace that middle several times. That's why. They were like, actually, I like the contrast. We'll leave the edge. It's kind of cool. Still clean over there. So at the Sands that night, he fights Johnny Sato, who's 18-8, and knocks him out in the fourth round. So 17-0 for Macho. He's coming up fast.
Yeah, he is.
October 30th, 82, again back at the Sands, he fights Melvin Tank Paul. So his first guy with a nickname.
Yeah.
Perfect. 16-0 for Melvin. And he'll finish his career 22-8. This is a unanimous decision, goes all 10 rounds. 18-0 for Hector. So he's doing well, but he's also attracting kind of a scumbag contingent.
Yeah,
he's any kind of lowlife, dirtbag, drug dealer, underworld kind of hanger-on scumbag. He just waves them all on into his entourage here.
That likely comes around through the coke.
It's free drugs. Yeah, anybody with free drugs is more than welcome. That's how drugs work, usually. Free good drugs. Hey, come on in. What do you got, drugs? It's universal.
Nice pistol. Where's the coke?
Yeah, whatever drugs you like. If someone has those drugs, you're going to be, hey, come on. Especially coke back then because it was expensive.
Yeah.
So Randy Gordon about this time said, that writer again, quote, "But I cringed at the creepazoids and lowlives who permeated every one of his training camps. He enjoyed the hangers-on, and of course they enjoyed the free ride, the lavish hotel suites, the late nights, and the fast women. And of course, they all loved the cocaine. It was like you see in the movies. It was all over their rooms." He was just
Randy's trying to paint a picture of a bad time, but it sounds fucking great.
That's the thing. It's as a 20-year-old, that sounds. There's not a lot of 20-year-olds that are going to go, that sounds awful. Oh, my God. So wait a sec. There's multiple women and your friends and drugs and lavish suites and all that. Oh, no, that sounds awful. No, that's what the goal of leaving the house is when you're 20. Right. You hope to end up in somebody's lavish suite with coke and women all over the place. That's what you're looking for. That's best case scenario when you're 20 when you leave the house. Especially if you're like a boxing champion, you feel like impervious to pain. Anybody could punch me in the face and I won't even fall down. That's got to feel great.
And I'm the star of this room, and there's pussy and tits out everywhere. I'm a hero.
All the tits, all the cocaine is mine. That's what it is. All the blow, all the tits. So November 20th, 82, Showboat Hotel and Casino, actually in Vegas, not the some sort of weird knockoff Atlantic City GoBot version. So he fights Greg the Candyman Coverson.
Hey.
Candyman, yeah, he's bringing the sweets. Candyman is 29-0. So
wow.
You don't want to fuck with him. Yeah, he will whack you with a Jolly Rancher. So he turns out 30-2 in his career. It doesn't last much longer. This goes all 10 rounds, unanimous decision for Hector, 19-0. So he's beating
crushing life.
He's crushing it. February 12th, 83. Wonder why he feels invincible,
Yeah.
This is the Bunker Field House in Anchorage, Alaska.
Oh, my.
He comes to the ring here wearing an enormous fur robe, floor length, like a boxing robe, but made of fur.
Of course, because he's trying to stay warm.
Yeah, I don't know where he got this thing, but it's like a $30,000 fur. It's probably more than he got paid for the fight. I don't know where. He really was interested in his marketing here. So he fights John Junior Montez.
Okay.
No,
Junior,
you don't want that. 22-0 for Junior Montez, though, so he is, doing quite well. This is a knockout in the first round, though. He flies all the way up there to fight less than 3 minutes. From Harlem to Anchorage is a long flight to fight for 2.5 minutes here.
I hear
so that's
almost to Russia.
It's almost there, from what I understand. Yeah. So that's 20-0 for Hector.
Great.
20-0 is that's a big deal. That's a milestone for a boxer.
Oh, yeah.
So Ed Brophy, who is the the director of the International Boxing Hall of Fame, he said that Camacho was bringing in a crowd at this point. People were starting to notice him. This is when he was getting in all the magazines. Yeah. He said, quote, Camacho brought a lot of excitement to boxing. He was bright, colorful, and always gave something to talk about with his walks to the ring, with his unique style of entering, and the costumes he wore. And he also said he was not only that, he was also a good fucking boxer.
Fuck yeah, he
so
was. Yeah.
Most of the time people do that, it's to cover up for their inadequacies. He's a good fighter and does this. He described him as an exciting fighter and one of the greats. He faced the best going up and down several divisions. That's about his whole career. And he said if he wasn't the first, he was one of the first that entered the ring with the extravagant costumes, feather crests, bright clothes, everything to the rhythm of some pop song. Wrestling. He's the first guy that looked at wrestling and went, oh, what the fuck are we doing? Like,
look at me.
He started coming in like the Fabulous Freebirds, who are, they're kind of given credit as the first one that really came to the ring with the whole in wrestling with a song and a fucking and the big things and all that. Guys had robes and shit, but they didn't come into Freebird with a big fucking chicks carrying Confederate flags and shit. So it's almost like that's just what he's doing. He saw a lot of boxers did that. They saw wrestlers and went, well, yeah, that's how you get the box office up. And
I'm a real American too.
God damn it. That's right. Look at me. Watch that. Well, I'm going to leg drop an Iranian anytime now. I will do it. So April 3rd, 83, Phoenix Civic Plaza in Phoenix.
Is that right?
That is. Absolutely. He fights
Downtown Civic Plaza.
Downtown Civic Plaza. Erlis Cubanito Perez he fights here. 25-0.
Hey.
This guy is. Not bad. Goes all 10 rounds, and Hector gets the win, unanimous decision, 21-0. In August of 83, he went from April to August without fighting. That's a lot. There's an explanation for that, as we'll talk about. This is at Hiram Bithorn Stadium in San Juan. This is against Bazooka Rafael Liman. Bazooka, he goes by.
That's his first name.
His first name is Bazooka, yeah. He goes by, or his record is 50-12-2.
Oh,
so he's been in the game quite a while here, but he doesn't in this fight too long. Only into the 5th round as Hector gets a TKO win here over him.
Fantastic.
22-0 for Hector. Now November 83, that goes on. This is at the Coliseo Roberto Clemente. Not bad here.
Pittsburgh.
No, not in Pittsburgh. This is for the WBC World Super Featherweight title. This is a real fucking belt. Yeah. This is a real deal. He's fighting Rafael Solis, who is 29-3. This is the second of his all Rafael trilogy here. He fights Rafael Liman, Rafael Solis, and then Rafael Williams. 3 in a row. I swear to God. I'm not kidding.
Not the same guy. It's just a bunch of different Rafaels.
Yep. 29-3 Rafael is. This is for the vacant WBC Super Featherweight. Hector knocks him out in the 5th round. 23-0 and a real belt on top of the world. Top of the world. God damn it. I'm going to say it now. I'm going to wait. I'm going to give it a minute. I'm going to let it percolate for a second. Let it marinate because he's got more. This is a great quote. He loves getting booed, he said, because he's the type of guy who's the loved or hated guy right away. I mean, part of they're loving him, and then everyone else, fucking boo, they hate him because he's so flamboyant and everything.
And he's good.
He feeds off the negative energy. He likes the negative energy. He says during an interview, quote, "My girlfriend boos when we make love because she knows it turns me on." Which is one of the greatest quotes of all fucking time.
Take a bow, sir.
Bravo, sir. Bravo. That is amazing because she knows it turns me on. Oh, Hector. I laughed so loud in the middle of the night fucking reading that. That was wild. It's my favorite thing ever.
I want to see that in a porno sometime now.
I did, right?
Some chick bent
Boo!
over something, just go,
you
Boo!
suck. You're terrible at this.
Yes.
He's really working it now. So they say, though, when he's training, this is from an article, here's a quote, "He transforms into a hungry, focused, and dedicated boxer that works hours and hours polishing his speed, his wit, and the style that turned him into one of the greats of all time. That's the only way you can explain why all those great hitters he faced during the best moments of his career never been able to knock him down." It's true. All of this flamboyance kind of makes you think, oh, I bet he doesn't work hard. But he knows how to work. That's the other thing. In the gym, it's a whole other issue. He's not even None of that bullshit going on in the gym. It's all work, 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 work. And then when it's time to party, it's time to party. And then fuck work. So May 20th, 84, in Corpus Christi, Texas, fighting Raphael Williams, who's 19-1. Hector knocks him out in the 7th round, 24-0 for Hector. The problem, he hasn't fought. He's only fought 3 times in the last year and a half, basically.
Right. Yeah.
And that's because he has a problem with his manager.
Oh.
After he won the title in 83, there were some problems there because I guess Don King, who was the promoter, had problems with Camacho's manager, Billy Giles. And because of that, he didn't get to fight a lot because those two couldn't work anything out to get fights for him. So Giles, and he ends up dropping Giles, and Camacho does, and getting more fights and going through Don King. And Giles went right to the media and said that Camacho was, quote, drowning in drugs. And he's a loser and all that sort of thing. So Don King, though, ends up taking Camacho in, and his next fight, Camacho gets a $500,000 payday for it. So he's pretty happy about that. That's July 19th, 1985, the Imperial Ballroom in Atlantic City. He fights Louis Burke, whose nickname is Sweet Lou. Old Sweet Lou. Wow. He's 19-1 coming in. Little Louis was a little too sweet to come out for the 5th round on this one. He stayed in the corner for the 4th, and that was the end of the fight.
Is that enough?
A little too sweet. He was over there. He needed a couple of candy bars. That's why they call him that. Can't get through a fight without some candy.
Yeah.
He's
it's his diabetes that gave him that name.
A hypoglycemic kind of a guy. They got to give him like a little Hershey's bar or something in between rounds just to get him going. They keep a cup of orange juice over there for him. So 25-0 for Hector. April 29th, 85, Memorial Auditorium in Buffalo, New York. He fights Rocky Montoya, who's 14-6-2, goes all 12 rounds to title fight, and Hector wins it unanimously, 26-0. Here is from a newspaper article, and this is just fucking hilarious. This is like an AP article, was everywhere. Quote, his style of dress, to begin with, is outlandish enough to make Liberace look blue-collar. Okay, that's a lot right there.
Enough to make a gay man in sequins seem like a dock worker.
Yeah, who wears giant rings on every finger. Macho wears a giant plate on a necklace that says Macho in gold letters. Yeah. It's huge. Right. He says he wears enough jewelry to make Mr. T look like a man who only dabbles in accessories. It must be great fun to watch Camacho walk through a metal detector. And that little ponytail, a kind of 80s cowlick. It's called a rat tail, is what he had. That's what he had.
80s cowlick. How dare you?
It's a rat tail, is what that is, sir. Sir, it's a rat.
It's the trashiest hairdo on earth.
He might have been the most popular, like early purveyor of the rat tail, I think. Right? I don't know anybody else more famous who had a rat tail back then.
An 80s cowlick, that is the worst. It's more it's more the Florida.
What a terrible description.
Florida pompadour is what it is.
The opposite. Oh, it's disgusting.
80s cowlick. How dare you?
Remember the kids that had the rat tail at school?
Yeah.
Like,
they were all dirty kids. They were
all the dirty kids, yeah. Which they got haircuts because the rest of their hair wasn't that long. Right. So it's like, you can't blame this on your upbringing. You chose this, motherfucker. Is this because like your dad and your brother have it too? And if you get like a 3-for-1 deal at the barber, I don't know what's happening, but
every one of them was the dirty kid. No, I don't know. Anybody that had
not just the dirty, the smelly kid.
The filthy kid.
There was a smelly kid with a rat tail, but not smelly like sad. Smelly like he was like, I like smelling like that. I don't like to take showers. Like he was. It wasn't sad. It was yeah, exactly. He liked to repulse people.
It's because he lived in a junkyard but his parents had a house somewhere.
Yeah. It's like fucking Pigpen he lived.
He just chose to sleep under a Buick on cinder blocks.
Yeah. And he had just a cloud of dust that followed him around.
And a rat tail.
This guy goes on to say the macho look actually spelled out with a gold chain of enough heft to bow larger men than Camacho, has set some people off, no question. It's a little threatening. Yet when Camacho enters the ring in a leopard loincloth, he doesn't really mean anything by it. It's just an extravagance of style. Extravagance, really, is what Camacho is all about. And this doesn't just mean the furs, the Lamborghini, because by this point he's driving a Lamborghini. Yeah. He's also extravagantly talented, and his 26-0 record suggests that. But Camacho is promising to mark it up real good and then go on to real glory. Quote, "I'm growing into something I dreamed," he said. "People have already recognized me as a champion. Now they'll recognize me as a macho man." Right. This is awesome. That is wild. Flannery, the guy who taught him to read, at this point said, "Here's how far he's come. He leaves my apartment one day, walking down the stairs because he never takes the elevator, and shouts up to me from the street. He wants to show me something. He shows me a neighbor's door with the key still inside it. He had just walked on by it. He says to me, 'See how I've changed?'"
I didn't even go in there and steal everything.
That's what this guy said. The old macho man might have opened the door and looked around and borrowed something. So, yeah, look at me. Hey, I didn't even steal nothing, huh? I'm pretty respectable. It's the rat tail. It gives me strength. So, August 10th, 85, Riviera Hotel and Casino Superstar Center in Vegas. Oh, wow. Yeah. That's their arena, I'm sure.
I think that place was just leveled, but it stuck around. That was the last one.
Yeah, that was a shithole, too.
Yeah,
that was a shithole. Have they knocked the Frontier down yet? Because that's another one that stuck around for a long time.
Yeah,
it was still around in the like 2005. It was still there. I know. Wow. So that shit was around forever.
That whole area in that section of the Strip near the Riviera turned into way upscale shit. Like there's a Louis Vuitton one. It's insane over there now.
Yeah, those were the dumpiest. They weren't the new casinos, and they weren't even like the shitty ones on the old Strip where it's like kind of a little carnival down there. They were just these in between. Those places were $30 a night back in like 2005. Yes. They used to be, you could get a room for $30 at those places. And it was like a decent room too for $30.
But it's still a shithole of a place compared to everything else around there. And Riviera's the one that had like the girls out front, the can girls, the leggy girls.
Yep.
And that's how they would get the fucking creep fucks to come in there and throw their money away.
Yeah, God. I'm going to go in there.
Pussy, come give us your money.
I bet those chicks will have sex with me if I go in there. No, probably not, actually.
I'm sure they won't. I'm sure they'll go home to their fucking husband and kids.
Someone. Or no one. Just not you. Scumbag from fucking Cincinnati who's here on business for 2 days. They're not going to fuck you.
Who's standing on the sidewalk trying to get a glimpse of vagina as they do kick legs.
Douchebag from Boise here on a bachelor party. They're not having sex with you. So this fight, the undercard of this fight, Hector is the main event here tonight. Okay? Mm-hmm. Undercard of this fight is Mitch Blood Green and Trevor Berbick are both on this card.
Is that
fighting
right?
each other. Yeah. Two of our alumni, obviously.
Fighting each other.
Yeah, they did all of this. They were Berbick was explaining how in the pre-fight press conference, Berbick was saying how in his last fight, his food was doped before that fight. Remember that whole thing? This is when he came out with it. And Hector was the main event. This is against Jose Luis Ramirez, known as El Zurdo.
Okay.
Know what that means?
No.
Left-handed. Just left-handed. Okay. Right. He's a southpaw. Just means he's left-handed. But it sounds cool. El Zurdo with a Z. Zurdo. It sounds like Zorro's cousin. It's cooler than fucking Jose, I guess.
Sounds like an antacid.
El Zurdo?
Yeah.
Sounds like a person who needs an antacid.
Yeah. I ate pizza. I need a Zurdo.
El Zurdo. Zurdo. El Zurdo. 90-5 is El Zurdo. So he's doing well with his left hand. This is a unanimous decision win for Hector, though. 27-0. That's a big fight, like we said. It's on a big whole deal here. December 18th, 1985, Arco Arena, Sacramento.
Hey.
A big place. Yep. He's fighting Freddie Roach.
Is that right?
You know that? Yeah, Freddie Roach, the big promoter and trainer.
Yeah,
this is a big guy. He's no Freddie What's up?
Obviously, I knew he fought because he looks like a fighter, but I don't think I've ever heard of a fight he was in until just now.
Well, you're going to hear about it now, God damn it. He went by the Choir Boy as his nickname. And he did. He looked like a little, he looked like a choir boy. He's 39-9 coming in. Roach at this point now, Roach has trained 27 world champions.
Holy shit.
He's done pretty well. He worked a bunch of shit, and then he ended up in 1991. Mickey Rourke was boxing during his acting career and hired Freddie Roach to help him train in 1995. Mickey Rourke gave all his gym equipment to Freddie Roach because he quit boxing. So he's got all of Mickey Rourke's gym equipment, which is a weird thing. He's done everything, this guy. Christ, he's been everything from huge boxing to also UFC people. He trained Andrei Arlovsky. He trained Fedor Emelianenko.
No kidding.
Yeah, he's trained all sorts of people. So he's really done a lot in anything fighting related. But Hector beats him with a unanimous decision in 10 rounds. Mm-hmm. So this is 28-0 for Hector. And he said afterward, Camacho made $50,000 from this fight. Wasn't a big fight. So he told the promoter to hold his $50,000 purse for him.
Oh.
He said, quote, "I don't need it now. When I do, I'll call you and ask for it. And you just hold on to it." And then he called him a year later and said, "Hey, can I get that $50,000? Like, I'll blow it on coke and gold chains tonight. Tonight. You know, I'll buy 3 of those kicking girls outside the Riviera. If you have enough money, they're for sale. Trust me."
But if somebody asks you to hold money, are you $50,000? I mean,
the promoter. I mean, he's always got people paying out. Whatever. Who cares?
There might be a little less in a year.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, why not? You want to work with him again.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, you want to work with him again.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.
Behind the closed doors of government offices and military compounds, there are hidden stories and buried secrets from the darkest corners of history. From covert experiments pushing the boundaries of science to operations so secretive they were barely whispered about. Each week, on Redacted, Declassified Mysteries, we pull back the curtain on these hidden histories. 100% true and verifiable stories that expose the shadowy underbelly of power. Consider Operation Paperclip, where former Nazi scientists were brought to America after World War II, not as prisoners, but as assets to advance U.S. intelligence during the Cold War. These aren't just old conspiracy theories. They're thoroughly investigated accounts that reveal the uncomfortable truths still shaping our world today. The stories are real. The secrets are shocking. Follow Redacted, Declassified Mysteries on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Redacted early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.
June 13th, 1986. This is Madison Square Garden. Now, the original fight poster for this, it's against Edwin Rosario, and this undercard has Julio Cesar Chavez and Mike Tyson on it.
What the fuck?
both of them, not fighting each other, obviously. Right. That'd be a bloodbath. It's a 70-pound weight difference, but different fights.
Yeah.
That would be terrible for Julio.
Might still be washing that man out of his hair.
Oh, my God. Somebody in the front row would have been wearing Julio's blood all over their clothes. Brain matter everywhere.
That might be why Mike shaved his head, because he couldn't get all that out.
That's totally. One of the big fight promoters from back then said, so there was a moment when he owned the sport, and I don't want that to be forgotten about Macho Camacho. Yeah. This was, he was on top of the fucking world at this point. Right. He fights Edwin Chapo Rosario, 28-1. It's a split decision win, bringing him to 29-1. So, or 29-0. I'm sorry, for Hector. Hector wins it, 29-0. September 26th, 86. He's in Miami Beach. He fights Cornelius Boza Edwards, who ends up being a matchmaker later on as well. Okay. At this point, he's 44-5, so he's not a bad fighter either. This goes all 12 rounds. Hector wins it for his 30th win, 30-0 for Hector. Yep. At this point, he decides to surrender the lightweight title because he's having trouble keeping his weight down. Okay. A lot of times this happens as the guys get a little older. They go up just because you get naturally a little bit bigger, and it becomes prohibitive to keep your weight down. You don't have the stamina you need and all that kind of shit. So he moves up to junior welterweight. And May 2nd, 87, Convention Center, Atlantic City, he fights Howard Davis Jr. Junior on junior violence. Here it comes. This guy's 29-3. Unanimous decision, 10 rounds, the win for Hector. So he ends up now doing he goes into this isolated section. He's in Florida. Mm-hmm. He moves into the woods in Florida, and the isolated. It's northern Florida. He finds a wooded section with some solid ground, just some solid ground.
A few rocks in the soil.
Yeah, a couple of rocks, something to stand on, a boulder. His younger brother Felix, who's 21 at the time, also living and training with him as well as he's getting into it. So Macho's, as he puts it, starting to chill out a little bit. A reporter notes that sitting in his den on bookshelves are now some self-help tapes on the buildup of self-image and cassettes that teach you how to control your anger. So he's trying to better himself now, they're saying, so he should be fine. He's maturing. He's a mature Macho Camacho.
He's got some philosophy.
I think he should be good from here on out.
Probably.
But right after that whole article, on February 4th, 1988, he is arrested for some wild shit. He's arrested. This is on cocaine and assault charges at once.
Possession while punching.
Well, more than that. He allegedly pulled a gun on a child who made an obscene gesture at Hector's friend. What the fuck are you doing?
A kid flipped him off, and we got a finger.
He was driving his car. That's it. An unidentified boy filed an assault charge against him after a fight. It was at school. It was outside of fucking school at Clewiston High School. So a kid that was outside of a school, he's driving by. The kid flips him off, and Hector gets out and beats him up and pulls a gun on him. So one of the guys said, quote, "From my understanding, one boy threw the bird at the other one. Hector thought he was doing it to him. They got into an altercation, and Hector pulled a gun on him and threatened to kill him." Well, excellent. A child. I was going to say maybe he didn't know he was a child, but he was outside the school with a fucking book bag on. No excuses for pulling your gun at that point, right?
I mean, we used to do that from the chain link. You know what I mean? That's what you do.
Yeah.
Cars drive by, you flip them off, and you run.
You just hope Macho Camacho doesn't get out with his fucking wearing peacock feathers, chasing you down with a Glock 40. You just hope that doesn't happen. Like he needs a gun against a child. Fighters can't beat him. So after they arrest him, they take him in to book him at the police station. And he's in like the little room, little whatever room by himself. Right. And there's a cop. He's on video the whole time in there. They have cameras even at this point in the mid-'80s. So there's a cop watching him the whole time on this monitor. And they watch him remove a small plastic bag from his wallet and tuck it into his underwear. So they go in, they go, what'd you go put in your underwear? He's like, what are you talking about? And they're like, what'd you put in your underwear? And it's a bag containing cocaine. And he's charged with possession of a controlled substance, as well as assaulting a child with a fucking handgun.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm surprised they didn't find that when they fucking arrested him.
No, I think I don't think they processed him. If he still had his wallet in his pocket, they haven't searched him. They searched him for weapons, anything big, and then they took him in. And this is when they'd go search through all of his shit. And he would have, if he was going to jail, he would have got arrested for smuggling contraband at that point.
Right.
So they said that he did not have a permit to carry a weapon, but he wasn't charged with weapons violations because they said that's all included in the aggravated assault charge.
Right.
It's all in there, they said. He, I guess this is 60 miles west of West Palm Beach. That's where he's hanging out now. So his response to this, Macho, why? What are you doing? He said that, number one, none of this is true. All bullshit. It's all a lie. Not just a lie, though. A quote, a big misunderstanding. Just a big misunderstanding. I was pointing a gun at somebody else, and I found that cocaine. Someone must have put it in the room.
He was pointing the bird at someone else. I was pointing my gun at someone else.
You know how it is.
Yeah.
He said that the incident, this is crazy. It's not stupid. He said, quote, he said, I didn't threaten to kill him. He said, quote, it wasn't, I'm going to kill you. And he said he was standing beside a gold, his big belts he had with him, and he said, quote, I'm a nice tiger.
A nice tiger.
He pointed a gun at him. He goes, it wasn't like I'm going to kill you type of point a gun at somebody. It was just like a, hey, what's up, dude? I'm pointing my gun at you for shits and giggles kind of,
right.
I'm going to kill you. Different kind of I'm going to kill you. You know,
sometimes tigers show their teeth. They can still be nice.
They're still nice, but they yawn, they show their teeth. And,
yeah.
Now, Camacho's lawyer, Jim Levian, he says the whole thing is a lot of nonsense. He's in a small town and he's a target. Well, you made a child a target of your gun. That's the problem.
Anybody driving by a school is a target. He should probably understand that.
That children might be dicks and flip you off. Yeah, they treat each other worse.
Don't ever ride behind 8-year-old Jimmy in the back of a wagon that's pointing, the back seat faces backward.
Oh, yeah.
I flipped off every driver that was behind us.
Every school bus ride
yes.
ever. As children. All we did was flip people off and make fucking blowjob faces at them. This is in like 5th grade, too.
Right.
Yeah, it's ahead. So Camacho said that things are just blown out of proportion. He's pissed off. He said that he merely argued with the youth at his car window, then left. He didn't. This is all crazy. He said there was no gun and there was no threats. He said that the kid and some of his friends from his Camacho and some of his friends were just cruising around in his friend's Rolls Royce at the time. You know how you do. You just cruise around small towns in Rolls Royces like we always do that, you know?
You drive around in a Rolls Royce, you're going to catch a few stray birds.
And you should expect that. And you should wave back at them and go, yep, my life is fabulous enough you should give me the finger. Fuck it.
My life is certainly better than yours, kid. Stay in school.
Man, even though I didn't go to school and I didn't read till I was 15, but that's irrelevant. Camacho then says, quote, I'm having a good laugh now. He's charged with aggravated assault of a child. I don't know what's funny about that.
and possession of cocaine.
In the 80s. So Camacho said he contacted the youth who pressed the charges. I don't think that's allowed, number one. I don't think you're supposed to contact victims of yours that have already pressed charges against you. I think that's part of it.
I think that's illegal.
Yeah, and he said that they both agreed it was blown out of proportion. How do you think they came to that agreement? With a couple of bucks, maybe? Come to that quick agreement?
I'm sure Hector suggested it first.
Hector then says, they just don't appreciate me here. Well, there's very few jurisdictions that appreciate when you pull guns on their children around there. At the school, no less.
Right.
Makes it worse, even. So, as far as the drug charges go, he didn't deny that police found drugs on him, but he also didn't admit to taking drugs. His response to all of this was, quote, I'm against drugs. I'm ... against drugs. I've got to keep training. I'm history in the making. If I was hooked on drugs, I'd be selling my TV.
What?
No. If you make enough money, you can do drugs. That's the thing. Yeah. He's acting like no matter who you are, if you do drugs, you'll sell everything you have. Not if you make a shitload of money. That's why famous people did drugs a lot, because they could and still have nice things.
If you've got money and you can afford to buy drugs, you don't have a drug problem. That's all.
It's the Sam Kinison joke. Yeah, if I had $13,000 to go to the Betty Ford Center, if you have $13,000, you don't have a fucking cocaine problem, okay? Yeah, that's the joke. So, July 25th, 88, Tropicana Hotel and Casino, Atlantic City, not the one in Vegas.
Okay.
So, this is against Reyes Antonio Cruz, who's 37-2-1. Unanimous decision win for Camacho in 10 rounds, 32-0. October 22nd, 88, down in Puerto Rico, he fights Rick Souse, which is source without the R. 14-1. TKO in the 4th round for Hector, 33-0. He ends up pleading no contest to possession of cocaine here. That's what he's got to do. Okay. The whole thing with the kid gets dropped because the kid decides they've come to an understanding. But
we both agree it was crazy.
Yeah, he agrees to random drug screenings to avoid probation or prison time.
You're telling me the police didn't think that was blown out of proportion, him changing cocaine from his wallet to his underwear?
That's to do it on camera in the fucking room there is the funny part. Like, dude, how dumb are you? I don't care that you have drugs. Just don't be an idiot and take them out then. Fuck, man. March 6th, 89, the Lawler Event Center in lovely Reno, Nevada. Oh, boy, the Garden Center here. This is for the vacant WBO super lightweight title. He fights Ray Boom Boom Mancini.
Oh.
So Macho Camacho and Boom Boom Mancini's a big fight back then. It really is.
He's been in the orbit of so many fucking amazing people.
And he goes from one era of these people to the next. Like, he'll fight all these guys, and then he'll also fight Trinidad, De La Hoya, all those guys.
Right.
It's fucking crazy. So Boom Boom is about done here, though. He's all boomed out at this point. He is
he's more just boom than boom boom.
He's more he's 29-3, and he'll finish his career at 29-5. He loses the last 3 fights of his career and then quits. Loses 3 in a row, and he's like, I'm not going to embarrass myself any further. That's
that man is a boxing household name, and he only
29 wins.
34 fights?
29-5.
Wow.
His fucking nickname is Boom Boom.
Yeah.
This is how important a nickname is.
Yeah.
Boom Boom, Macho. These are the people you remember. Their names are fucking legendary because of these goddamn nicknames. It's wild, man. Mitch Blood Green. That's a great nickname.
Sure, yeah.
So this split decision win. So Boom Boom almost doesn't have to retire here, but he loses 34-0 now. He's beaten Boom. He's basically retired Boom Boom. He's going to fight like one more fight. This is good shit. 34-0 on top of the world. He can pull guns on kids with no recrimination. None at all. He's on top of the world. Grace. This is grace. Yeah. This is grace right
Not
here.
Bad.
So next up, July 17th, 89, this is Trump Plaza, Atlantic City. He fights Tommy Hanks, he's just doing an undercover thing for a role in a boxing movie he's playing, I'm sure. That's all it is. Tommy Hanks. Imagine being that guy. You got to go by Thomas, right? Because it sounds the least like it.
You got to run with
What's
Tommy.
your middle name? What's your middle name? Pete? Great. Pete Hanks. Hi, Pete. Don't go by Tommy. Although if you want to make restaurant reservations, always go by Tom Hanks. Always go with Tom Hanks. So he's 18-3, Tommy Hanks. He's been fighting for a while. Not exactly an award winner, but he's fighting.
No.
Unanimous decision in 10 rounds, all 10. 35-0 for Hector. Jesus Christ. November 4th, 89 in Atlantic City, he's fighting Raul Torres, who's 10-3-2. And this also goes all 10.
Wow.
So 36-0. I think he took Raul a little lightly, possibly. December 1st, 89, he has another son.
Really?
With a woman named Amy Torres, who will suffer along for about the next decade or so while he just does awful things. This is really when Macho comes into his own as a criminal here in this era, and this poor woman is along for the ride for almost all of it. Holy shit. So they have a son named Justin here. February 3rd, 1990, at Convention Hall in Atlantic City, he fights Vinny Pazienza. Holy shit, it's like a fucking reunion show.
It's crazy.
It's like a reunion show. Like all of the past crime and sports people are coming back to us here. Tyson, Burbick, Mitch Green, Pazienza. Holy fuck.
Everybody.
Vinny Paz. Absolutely. Vinny Paz's ma's in the corner screaming at him.
Oh, she was there for sure.
He's not that macho. 28-3, Vinny is coming into this fight. A unanimous decision in 12 rounds for Hector.
Yeah.
Hector he's a better boxer. He's just outclassed him.
He was so good.
He was so good. The flash of it made, honestly, in the end, like it made him more famous, but it actually makes people think he wasn't as good of a boxer as he was.
Really?
It really does. Yeah, he has more of a reputation for his crazy haircuts and his crazy outfits than he does for his boxing. And then you go, oh yeah, this motherfucker is 37-0 right now.
Right.
And he's fought all comers. It's crazy.
Right. As a professional, he's undefeated against good fighters.
Yeah. No one's knocking him down. He's damn good. Yeah. He's not dodging anybody. This is who's available at 1990 at this weight class. That's it. So he's 37-0. August 11th, 1990 at Caesars Tahoe. Don't get too excited.
That sounds better, actually.
It might be better. Yeah. It's less hot up there. Yeah. Might be nice.
Yeah. Nicer
in the
weather,
wintertime.
more scenery.
Yeah, there's some mountains. There's mountains in Vegas, too. So he's fighting Tony the Tiger Baltazar. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did it. Tony the Tiger. 35.
Yeah,
Tony the Tiger. Yeah, he did it. He's like, fuck it. Can anyone else think of anything? No? Well, then we got to go with the Tiger. I don't know. The fight's tomorrow. What do you want from me?
I bet it gets a lot of press. Let's run it.
Come on. It works for people. It's boom, boom. That guy's not even that good. You fucking break. So, by the way, Boom Boom's also very, very famous because he is Italian. And at this point, there's not a lot of Italian fighters. And the Italian fighters that are there, we really rally around our own.
We need a
when it comes
Rocky.
to shit like that. Yeah, we need a hero a lot. And we don't get a lot in sports. We really don't. Like, all of our guys are either like, there's some in baseball, but they're all catchers or managers. You know what I mean? Like, there's not. Since DiMaggio, we've been empty.
There's a few football players, but most of them are linemen.
Not really. A couple of linemen. That's about it. Football's not a real big Italian sport either. We don't
heavy sausage suckers.
No. Yeah, we're boxing trainers.
Yeah.
Tons. All the trainers back then were Italian. We're trainers. We're catchers and managers and things like that. But athletically, a lot of them are 5'6" and just not really.
Not a lot of them are wearing the C for captain.
No, it's a different deal. Well, they might be a catcher, you know what I mean? But they're not going to be the best player on the team. They're just going to have a good strategy of how to fuck the other team over. We're good at that. That's how they become managers. That works. So I think that's what it is, though. Yeah, they get, we had nothing so much that we said, fuck it, Ralph Macchio and Rocky. Those are our heroes. These are not even... It's movies, and we're still like, those are our athletic heroes. We don't care.
Ralph Macchio and a guy that we can't understand.
You don't care. Who cares? A child and a man with obvious brain damage. Our heroes. We don't give a shit. Yeah. Hey, Ralph Macchio, he kicked that guy in the face.
Good for Ralph Macchio for having maybe the ugliest first name in the history of first names and being the least sexy man on the planet, yet was still fucking very well paid.
Elizabeth's shoe humping all over him. That was Elizabeth's shoe, right? The first one?
Sure was, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
As if. Should give him the time of day.
It wasn't a cruel summer for him that summer. He was doing just fine.
Best summer ever.
Best summer ever.
I'm going to run this summer 2 more times, goddammit. Before they cast a woman in this role.
Jesus, it's going to be all over. Then Hillary Swank will take over, and that's the end of it. So he's 38-0 after this fight. 38-0. Next up, February 3rd, 1991, Caesars Palace, Las Vegas, the big time, versus Greg Haugen, who's a tough fighter, 27-3.
Yep.
Now, this is a weird fight. It goes all 12 rounds. It ends up being a split decision. And at one point, the referee deducted in the 12th round, mind you, the referee deducted a point from Camacho because he refused to touch gloves with Haugen at the beginning of the round.
That's ridiculous.
Dude, you can punch a guy in the balls 3 times before they'll fucking deduct a point. First time's an accident. Second time's a fucking warning because they have to warn you first. Yeah. Next time is a fucking... He didn't touch gloves with him, which has no impact on the fight whatsoever.
0. No.
Got a point deducted and ends up... Camacho ends up losing a split decision in the end. Split decision. So that point could have made a big difference.
Him. Yeah. And then, the at this time, what year was this? 89?
This is 91.
91. There was a time around that what sportsmanship was being fucking touted in every sport. Like they wanted like respect in sport for each other. You know what I mean? It's your opponent, man. Who gives a shit?
Yeah,
Maybe we'll tap gloves and hug after.
Anymore. Yeah, and back in the day, people weren't all sportsmen either. Ty Cobb used to jump up and kick people in the balls with his spikes and slide into things. What a sportsman. What a nice leisurely game, isn't it? Just a easy stroll. After the fight, though, they do all they drug test all the fighters after the fight, and an unidentified substance was found in Haugen's urine.
Oh.
The record stayed the same of Haugen with the win, but a rematch is ordered. They have to fight again, and it's right away, too. It's in May of 91, a couple months later, at the Reno Sparks Convention Center. Not quite Caesar's Palace, but, Greg Haugen again. This time, goes the distance again, split decision again, but Camacho wins it this time.
There you go.
So, 39-1 for Hector. For some reason, this Amy Torres marries him in 1991. I don't know why, but she does. I guess she loves him. They have kids. I don't know, but here it's going to get crazy now. October 14th, 1991, Hector's arrested. This is pretty wild. Okay. He's driving a Ferrari.
Yeah.
A black 1988 Ferrari.
Why not?
So it's hot shit, okay?
Yeah.
It's on Interstate 75 in Florida. He's driving. He is stopped for driving too slowly.
What? Probably a Testarossa?
He's driving 35 miles an hour on Interstate 75.
Some cars you got to go slow and let people see you. Some of them you got to do it.
They can hear it if you rev it up. You don't even need to be... You can be within a half mile of it and go, put it in neutral and hit it twice. Everyone's head will snap, I promise you.
35
Instead,
on the highway.
35 on the... Well, you're thinking he's just showing off and he's just having like kind of a peacocking moment. Oh, no. The reason when they pull him over, they figure out why. It's because he's currently fucking while he's driving.
Wow.
There is a woman humping him on his lap when the police officer gets to the window. She is at that moment still fucking him from the ride.
That's
not
awesome.
Finished yet. That's why he was going slow, which you got to give him credit. At least he wasn't going over. He said, all I can handle is 35 while we're fucking. I can't go 75.
We're being reckless enough here.
Yeah, I can't drive 55 while you fuck me. I can't. Yeah. So he's arrested for this. He has no license, is why. Suspended license. He's got no license. He's just driving a Ferrari while fucking with no license. I'm sorry. It's too much.
That's endangerment.
It's too much. It's just too much. So here's a couple of crazy stories about Hector from this time period. This is from the Showtime documentary that they made a few years ago about Hector. They made it like 2019-ish, I want to say. One of his childhood friends and who will be one of his, quote, bodyguards, one of his entourage, paid hangers-on, who's supposedly a bodyguard, Rudy Gonzalez. He says, when a woman, Jesus Christ.
When a man loves a woman, you see.
You see, when a woman and a man love each other very much, sometimes they pray for a baby. And what the Lord will tell him to hop into a black 1988 Ferrari and do the wild thing while the blue lights swirl. And if you do that, you're sure to get pregnant. That's what a shaman once told me. I'm not sure.
I want to know what kind of Ferrari. Was it the 308? Well,
I have no idea.
I know so bad.
I only could find one article that said that it was even a Ferrari. There's a couple others, but it's only Ferrari. It's not. I can't get anything else. So this Rudy Gonzalez said, when a demon lives inside of you, that's a bad slip there. Sorry, ladies. He said, quote, he doesn't leave. When a demon lives inside you, he doesn't leave. Gonzalez describes at one point in the movie waking up from a nap during a car ride with Camacho. They were driving from California to Florida. Okay. So they were taking turns driving and sleeping. Yeah. He said that this is fucking wild. He woke up as they were approaching the border, the U.S.-Mexico border. Uh-huh. And Camacho tells Gonzalez, I've got a little present in the trunk.
Oh, God.
And he says, what? And he says, a kilo of Coke I got back there, which is not great to have at the border. So they get stopped at the border.
Yeah.
And they're being talked to, you know, and Gonzalez tells Macho, quote, I need you to do macho time right now. When he starts acting crazy, he calls that macho time. Macho time.
Yeah.
He said, I need you to do macho time right now, right here, dude. You got to do it. So Camacho fucking pops out of the car, leaps up in one jump onto the hood. It's a brand new Jaguar. Uh-huh. He jumps up onto the hood and starts jumping up and down like an in-betweener's fucking football friend. Starts jumping up and down and screaming, where's Julio Cesar Chavez? Where's Julio Cesar Chavez? I want to fight him. I'm going to fuck him up. He's been running from me. Where's Chavez? He makes it into like a big stunt. And then all the Border Patrol are like, hey, he wants to fight Julio Cesar Chavez. And they all act like, hey, look at this. This is cool, right? Dude, check it out. He wants to fight fucking Julio Cesar Chavez. Man, this is all right. And they fucking let him go.
You don't as a Border Patrol agent go, that man's on coke, search his car.
Nope. Because it's Macho Camacho. That's how he is. That's every time they've ever seen him, that's how he is. So if he didn't act like that, they think something was wrong.
Right.
They think now he's just being fun. You could get away with shit like that still in 93.
It's amazing.
In 92. So it caused enough of a commotion that they let him do a U-turn and leave. They just let him leave. Because they were, eventually they stop the car and Camacho, buries the cocaine on the side of the highway. Okay, just buries it with plans to come back later and get it, which he does and spends all night trying to dig it up and find it and can't find it later on. That's what happens when you bury cocaine in the dark. You're not going to find it again. Oh, too bad they didn't have little GPSs you could put in it or something back then.
A little Apple Finder.
Something. So Gonzalez drops Camacho off at home in Florida, and he tells Amy, quote, here he is. I don't want to talk to him for at least a year. Get him the fuck away from me. I don't want, that was a stressful trip. So August 1st, 1992, at the Hilton in Vegas, he fights Speedy Eddie Van Kirk. Speedy Eddie here, 26-7-3. He's not speedy enough. Macho TKOs his ass in the fourth round. So 40-1 for Macho at this point. Mm-hmm. He's not bad at all. Also in 1992, he has another son with Amy.
This is the third?
This is his third son, second with Amy. Christian is his name now. Okay. September 12th, 1992, the Thomas and Mack Center in Vegas. He fights. He gets his wish. Julio Cesar Chavez. There he is. Cesar Chavez is 81-0 at this point.
Is that right?
Yeah, man. He shouldn't have been 81-0 though, because Meldrick Taylor kicked his fucking ass and that fight got called with 2 seconds left. Richard Steele comes in and waves it off like Taylor couldn't have fucking stood there for 2 seconds. He's going to get killed. By the time Chavez got to him, the fight would have been over. He was in a neutral fucking corner, waved it off, and Taylor was well ahead on the cards. That was the most angry I've ever been watching a fucking fight. Meldrick Taylor
81-0.
Beat him. Yeah. How many of those, though, were shady decisions and shit, too? Because I don't trust anything after I saw that. He ends up 107-6-2. Julio. So he was a legendary fighter. Yeah. But at the end he was fighting when he was he was like 50 when he was fighting still.
Don't do that.
This goes all 12 rounds, and it is a unanimous decision loss for Hector. Julio knows how to win a decision, and this brings him to 40-2. But I don't know if Macho even gives a shit because he made $3 million for this fight. Hector did.
God.
So he is thrilled. He's making millions of dollars now. Like the last 5 years or so, he has been collecting so much money.
Yeah.
Big paydays. September 21st, 1992, he is arrested. He's stopped by in Lake Placid, a lot of training up there, by a police officer who said that he was weaving with no headlights on.
Oh,
that's a problem. You can't do that. Weaving. He showed the officer an invalid driver's license also.
Yeah.
So he's cited for driving with a suspended license, giving false information to an officer, and failure to drive in a single lane. And they later on dropped the false information charge. At least he wasn't fucking at the time, so that's good. At this point, they noticed he's received from 1988 to 1992 27 traffic tickets.
That's so many.
That's why he doesn't have a goddamn license. He's had his license suspended 4 times, including currently.
Yeah.
He's a disaster. And he's always driving a Lamborghini, a Ferrari, a Jaguar, a Rolls. He's always driving some exotic car with no license.
That's how you get police attention, and then swerve and go too slow in it.
Yeah, you're driving a fucking
tickets. Yeah.
Ferrari 35 miles an hour on the freeway. People are going to notice you. Then when there's a woman fucking gyrating on top of you, you're going to get seen.
That's so awesome.
That is like a teenager's dream. Man, someday I'm going to get a Ferrari and I'm just going to drive at half the fucking speed limit with a chick just riding my dick the whole time. And you want to pull me over? Fine, but you're going to get a whiff of that pussy if you know what I'm talking about. That's like every douchebag teenager's dream.
Charlie Sheen banged Christy Swanson in The Chase running from the cops like that. And
absolutely.
I was mad impressed with that because they had like a camera on them and shit because the police were chasing him with a helicopter and everything. That was fucking rad.
Impressive.
And this is even more impressive.
This actually happened, so it's even better.
This is real.
This is good.
There was penetration and everything.
Oh, tons of it. It was gross. All sorts of good stuff. So this leads us to November 6th, 1992. Just a few short months later, he's in the Miami International Airport Hilton Lobby Hotel. So he's in the lobby of the hotel at the airport.
Yeah, the airport hotel.
His arms are up. He is screaming over and over again at the top of his lungs while standing on top of furniture, intermittently being on the ground. Quote, "I'm the Macho Man. I'm the Macho Man. I'm the Macho," over and over and over again, to the point where they have to call the police to try to quiet him down because he will not stop screaming, "I am the Macho Man," in the middle of this fucking lobby. So the police come to try to quiet him down. Seems pretty intoxicated, they say, as you might imagine.
Right.
And the officers immediately spot a small plastic bag. Where? Hanging out of his pocket? No, in his hand. Just in the open, in his hand.
Yeah.
Holding it. So he ends up, once the cops come and tell him whatever, they kind of corner him. He runs out of the lobby, takes off. He's a squirrely little guy.
Yeah.
Runs into the parking area where the cops end up catching up to him, and then he fights both of them. With the bag still in his hand, by the way. Fights 2 cops who try to subdue him. Eventually, they get him cuffed. One officer's taken to the hospital with a broken leg.
Wow.
And the other one's got bumps and bruises and everything else. He fucking beat the shit out of 2 cops. They ended up eventually getting...
leg.
He knows karate. He broke a cop's leg. He's punching another cop. Yeah, he's crazy. So he's charged with 3 counts of battery on a police officer, 1 count of disorderly intoxication, and when they finally got him cuffed, he had a bag of weed in his hand, so another possession of marijuana as well. That was what the plastic bag was. He should have smoked that weed. Maybe none of this would have happened. He's like, I'm just trying to find somewhere to smoke this weed so I can calm the fuck down.
I'm looking for a Coke can. Anybody?
Anybody? Shit, I'll take anything. Fine, RC will do, I guess. I don't know.
What state was
by
this
the way,
in?
this was Miami, Florida. Miami International Airport Hilton.
You can't be punching cops in Florida.
By the way, speaking of soda, have you seen the Netflix Pepsi Harrier documentary? The kid that sued them for the Harrier jet from Pepsi points in the 90s.
Bad. It's out?
It's out now. It's on Netflix. A problem is it's 4 parts and it should be an hour and a half documentary, but they're all like 40 minutes long. Okay. It's very interesting though. It's very interesting. Pepsi 1,000% should have owed that kid a fucking jet. They put a thing on with no disclaimer, no anything, and had it in the same font and everything as all the other offers. It's a real offer. You guys are dicks.
Didn't expect anybody to figure out how to get the Harrier.
And what a fucking amazing bit of PR. If they actually got a Harrier jet for him.
Unbelievable.
Even if it cost $32 million, you couldn't buy. That's way more than $32 million worth of publicity you'd get for that.
Absolutely, yeah.
You're the lead story on every local news broadcast in the nation, in the world, honestly.
Yeah.
Showing how edgy and cool you are. Fucking idiots.
McDonald's
Greedy
wishes
schmucks.
that hot coffee thing was only $39 million.
Well, it was only $2 million.
Right, but it was they spent a lot more than that in fucking
on
court.
Illegal shit. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
So December 15th, 1992, a mere month later, he is arrested again. He surrendered later on a charge of illegally obtaining a driver's license.
Oh,
because he got a driver's license using false information is what he did. Fingerprinted, photographed, released after posting $690.50 bail. He's going to be arraigned. It's a felony charge, and he also has 2 misdemeanor traffic charges also from it as well. Police issued an arrest warrant for him, or prosecutors did, after learning that he obtained a driver's license without disclosing that his driving privileges had been suspended in several other states. So, not great. Maximum penalty for this?
Yeah.
By the way, because this is kind of it's a felony charge because it's identification theft, essentially.
Right.
5 years in prison is max penalty for this. This isn't a fine, nothing bullshit. His attorney said, come on. He said Camacho's, quote, a nice guy who's down to earth. He just wants to get the... Nice and down to earth? You say he's a nice guy. Say he's innocent. Don't say he's down to earth. He fucks women while driving a Ferrari. That's not down to earth. That's the opposite of down to earth. Jumping out of a Rolls Royce to put a gun in a teenager's face is the opposite of down to earth. I'm sorry. Holy balls.
He's exhibited zero down to earth behavior.
None at all. He said he just wants to get the charges cleared up as soon as possible and get it all behind him. He ends up pleading guilty in the assault case with the police there, and he gets, you, sir, may fuck off probation. Take that, mister.
Yeah.
So May 8th, 93, back at the Thomas and Mack Center, the Thomas and Mack Center in Vegas, he is fighting Eric Podolak, who's 20-3.
Oh.
TKO's this guy 5 rounds, so 41-2 for our friend Hector here. June 19th, 1993, Sports Arena, San Diego. He fights altar boy Tom Alexander.
Okay.
Altar boy, choir boy. I think we've exhausted all of the you've been molested at church euphemisms. I think we can put those behind us, right? No more?
Is there one for the wrestling boys?
Tommy the Pew Kneeler Alexander. What else do we got here? Tommy the confession booth hand job specialist Alexander. 17-4 for Altar Boy. TKO in the 7th round for Hector. 42-2. October 1993. This is the first one. The first incident was for the teenagers that he got sentenced for probation. This next one here, he is now going to be sentenced for fighting the police officers.
The assault on 2 cops. Breaking a leg.
This time they give him 6 months of house arrest for that. So that's what he gets, 6 months of house arrest.
For breaking a cop's leg.
And beating the shit out of another one, yeah. That's it. While yelling, I'm the Macho Man. Don't forget that part. That really makes it better for some reason.
The Macho Man.
The Macho Man. December 18th, 1993, in Mexico, he fights Lee Fortune, who's 16-10-1. This sounds like just a setup for an easy fight. TKO in the first round for Hector. Yeah, that's what that is. 43-2. January 29th, 1994, the MGM in Las Vegas.
Okay.
It's big time here. Versus a 22-0 up-and-coming Felix Trinidad, who later on, before he got fucking lazy in the ring, was a bad motherfucker, man. He was He was nasty, Trinidad. He was a hard-hitting son of a bitch. He looked so frail and skinny, and he'd put the popping on people. He'd be like, God damn, that fucking punch sounded like it came from somebody way different than you.
Frail? It was so skinny.
He looked fucking frail sometimes. He did. In the beginning of his career, he looked frail. He looked like you could hurt him, but you couldn't. He was made of iron. He was just wiry. He's wiry, you know? So Trinidad, oh, fuck yeah. He was thumping people. This was a unanimous decision loss in 12 rounds. So it went the distance and all 12, and Trinidad was a great fighter. And he's also a taller guy. Trinidad's, I want to say 5'11", somewhere in that range, whereas Camacho's 5'6". So,
is he that small?
Camacho's 5'6". He's a tiny little fucker.
Shit.
Yeah, he's small. So Trinidad can kind of, keep him at bay with jabs and such, I believe. So 43-3 for Hector, which is still phenomenal. 43-3. That's still great. So how much has he paid in legal bills over the years so far?
It's got to be 100,000 too?
Yeah, well, we'll talk. He says he's got a number. He says this lifestyle, it takes the edge off, but also it's expensive because you end up doing stuff like that. He says, I figure maybe $1 million, $1.5 million what he spent. He says, I know 600,000 has been in the last year or two when I had a couple more problems. I've lived a full life, though. It might not be for everybody, but no regrets for me.
What
Holy
if you just
shit.
don't do that dumb shit, man? $1.5 million.
$1.5 million. Then there's a couple things we didn't even hear about. Like he talks about he ended up settling a beef where he broke another guy's leg in a club once here. He says, quote, a guy accused me last year of breaking his leg in a club. We had a disagreement, and it got a little too rough and nasty. Cost me $150,000 to settle, and I only got off that cheap because he was waiting to see if I won or lost the fight. That was when he lost the Trinidad fight. Or he would have gone for $1 million if I won. He said, then there was the furniture I was shipping to my home in San Juan. Immigration charged me with gun trafficking, but I was later found innocent. It cost me money, though. All these things have had me in a fog, and that affected me against Trinidad. But the bad times are behind me now. What is he, Jimmy?
Yeah, he's good
he
now.
Is good now. He says, no more Macho Man outside the ring. That's his new thing. Only inside the ring.
You're
it's
telling
this quote.
me he bought a couch and upon arrival happened to be
Had
full
guns
of
in it.
guns? Not
Super
his fault.
weird. It's like you used to see back in the day on like Cops or Live PD when people get pulled over and he'd be, I just bought these pants and there's a bunch of cocaine in the pockets. That's crazy. There's so much heroin in these pockets. I just bought them at Ross. It's super weird.
They were supposed to put those little things that absorb moisture in here, full of coke.
That's what I thought they
it's
were.
Crazy.
Or maybe an extra button. I didn't think it was coke. So, quote, no more Macho Man outside the ring, only inside. Outside, I'm Mr. Camacho now.
Okay.
I've had it all. Ferraris, women, money. It's time to take my life out of fifth gear and down to third. He's good now.
2 downshifts. Jesus.
2. He's done. He's
really
going to take it down a notch. It's not like he has fucking 3 kids and a wife and all that shit. And he's, over 30 years old. No. May 3rd, 94, Casino Magic in St. Louis. That sounds magical, all right. He fights Franco de Orio, who is 27-3-1. Unanimous decision win for Hector, 44-3. June 9th, 94, at the Rosemont Horizon, which is outside Chicago there. He said he has no Craig Snyder he's fighting, who's 14-4. Macho considers him a bum. He said, quote, I would have to think of retiring if I can't beat this guy. I came here because they told me I should take him out in 2 or 3 rounds. He said, they gave me $5,000 up front to come to Chicago and $20,000 after the fight. Been a long time since I fought for such a small payday. Can't remember when, but I had to quit being egotistic. I was hurting myself by being inactive. I'm pointing toward a match in August with Manny Galloway. I fought last month in Mississippi, and I'll fight again on June 21st. When I lost to Chavez, some people told me, Macho Man, retire. What for? 25 G's isn't all bad. I've made some investments, but I need the cash flow. In other words, I'm piss broke because I've had Lamborghinis and Ferraris.
I need the money.
So I have Ugats on my fucking books now. He said, I don't have headaches. My ribs don't ache. I'm healthy. So why not? I've had a lot of big paydays, but now I can pick up 20, 30 G's while I try to get another big payday down the line by fighting Pernell Winokur, another one of our alumni. This thing is just loaded with it. He says that he now travels rather with his cocaine entourage, his blow entourage, and his ladies. He now travels with his two youngest sons. That's who he travels with, Christian and Justin, along with his wife. That's his entourage now. Yeah. He says also his son is starting a boxing career of his own, Hector. He's very excited. Right. He then said, never married, he said. You got married 3 years ago. He is married. They got married in 1991.
You're married right now.
Right now, currently married. She's sitting next to him with their two kids running around. Never married, never had time. Wasn't the macho man image, but I don't want to run around with girls anymore. I've got my family. You are extremely married. 3 years is very married. He said, there was a day, though, when I showed up in my macho man clothes that places went crazy. My life was, and he was thinking about it. He goes, yeah, it was just like that. He said, I'm only planning on one fight while I'm in Chicago, but who knows who I might bump into on the way out of here tonight. So maybe I'll fight more people if I don't like somebody. So this 2 or 3 round fight ends up going the distance, actually.
Wow.
He must be pissed about that. And he gets the unanimous decision, but he's 45-3.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this white Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus.
And some people are saying, is he starting to fade a little bit? He's got you lose a little step, a little quickness in that jab, a little quickness in your feints. Which, I mean, he's getting older. I mean, he's over 30, which for a small guy who's a speedy guy, it doesn't take a lot. You're not going to completely slow down, but that little bit is the difference between that's your edge, you know? Yeah. Former boxer Ernie Terrell, who was a promoter in Chicago, saw Camacho's last fight, and he says, quote, I retired at 34. You can't afford to be a few seconds late with a hit, and that's what happened when your reflexes go. Camacho's not as fast as he was. That's his opinion at the time. September 27th, 94, Casino Magic again. We're probably talking another 30,000. He fights Pat Lawler, who's 20-4. Unanimous decision win. November 15th, 94, the Civic Center in Erie, Pennsylvania. He fights the Biloxi bomber, Rusty DeRuin. Whoa. Wow. Rusty. That's the name for you. DeRuin. I'm going to DeRuin you with my rust. Ugh, gross. It's a TKO in round 4 for Mr. Camacho, 47-3. January 14th, 95. He's fighting every month now. He needs the cash, you can tell. Every single fucking month. That's November, then January. Convention Hall, he fights Todd Kid Foster. And TKO in 5 rounds, 48-3. February 28th, 95, Foxwoods. He fights Louis Maisonette. Weird name, Maisonette, who's 28-5. Louis doesn't come out for the 7th round. 49-3 for Macho. March 29th, 1995, the Shoemaker Center in Cincy, I'm sorry. He fights Verdell Smith, who also goes by Tim Brooks and Tommy Bowles.
Yeah.
Pick a fucking name. What are you talking about?
Who are you running from?
What is that? Yeah, what is this shit? Do you have brain damage under one name, so you have to register as a fighter under somebody else? I don't get it. He's 24-19-2, so really it's not really worth investigating, to be honest. But either way, it goes 10 rounds, unanimous decision for Hector.
Yeah.
That's his 50th win. 50-3 for him.
That's incredible.
Yeah, May of 95, he fights in Atlantic City, the nature boy, Homer Gibbons. No, sir,
I would never say, I'd just say the nature boy.
Come on.
Or whatever fucking nickname you pick that's not already well documented.
And your name's Homer? You're not the nature boy Homer in the 90s. Homer is Simpson. You're done. So 35-3 for Homer here. He's just mad at people making fun of his name. Unanimous decision in 12, 51-3 for Hector. June 95 in Fort Lauderdale, Juan Arroyo. He doesn't come out for the 6th round, so Hector another win, 52-3. So everybody he's lost to has been quality too. He doesn't have like one of those, some scrub beat him some night, some guy with a 500 record. August 6, 95, he fights Gary Kirkland, who's 23-0 coming into this fight.
Hey.
So he's fighting up-and-comers now, and TKO win for Macho in the 9th round, 53-3. September 28th, 1995, Olympic Auditorium in L.A. here, and he ends up this night. He's got a fight against Tony Rodriguez. Most of the time, boxers have a very rigid routine that they do before fights. They get there, they warm up this way at a certain time, they cool down, they do this. They got a whole routine. Everybody's got a different thing, but he gets in his fucking trunks, puts his big robe on at the beginning of the night, comes out, and just sits along ringside to watch the preliminary matches before his fight.
I gotta watch the undercard. It's a lot of fun.
He just comes out and gets a seat that's empty. He just picks one and just sits there in his full robe and boots and fucking shorts and just sits there. No gloves, but just sits there and waits till it's his time to go back.
You've got a TV in your
Never
fucking
seen that
green
before.
room, probably.
Well, one of his friends about it said, quote, he just wanted to be with people. But you're fighting tonight. Be with people afterwards. That's what people do.
Do that tomorrow.
That's so strange. So Tony Rodriguez, though, didn't need much help with him. Tony Rodriguez is 13-1 coming in, and this is his last fight. Okay. He decides to quit after this. Unanimous decision win for Hector. October 95, International Ballroom in Washington. He fights Richie Hess, TKO in 4 rounds. November 7th, 1995, Mountaineer Casino Racetrack and Resort in Chester, West Virginia. We've talked about that one before.
So nice.
Very nice toilets to snort pills off the back of, I hear.
For sure.
Very nice. And you're allowed to play slot machines shirtless, so that's
half
also
naked.
a
Come
plus.
on through.
Come on in. Women full naked. We don't care. So Danny Young Gun Chavez, he fights here. 25-5-1, unanimous decision. So now it's a lot of decisions, too. December 9th, 95, Mark of the Quad Cities in Moline. Yeesh.
Texas?
No, that's Quad Cities is Iowa.
Right.
So,
well, Moline is Texas, isn't it?
No, Moline is
there's one up there.
Iowa. I mean, I'm sure there's one in Texas. There's ones everywhere. There's a Paris in Texas, so it's a big fucking state. There's one of everything, probably. Yeah. Is it Moline, Illinois, or Iowa, or some shit?
It's got to be if there's a Quad.
It's one of those.
It's the Quad Cities, Moline.
It's one of the I states. I know that for a fact. Lonnie Horn, he fights 24-2, TKO in the 6th round, so he's 57-3.
Yeah.
Not bad. December 17th, 95, the week after the Lonnie Horn fight. Phew, man. There's a problem at home.
Oh.
When he gets in a fight with his wife, who happens to be pregnant at the time.
Oh, God.
And pushes her and gets arrested for it.
Of course.
So, yeah, they said that ordinarily he would have been charged with simple battery, which is a misdemeanor, but because she's 2.5 months pregnant, they charged him with a felony for it. And he knew she was pregnant. His wife does not want to press charges against him, and her sister Margie, who was there, said that Hector never hit Amy, never happened. This is the sister said, quote, "He'll never lay a hand on my sister. He loves her too much."
Okay.
Whoa, Jesus, Margie said that Camacho was simply trying to calm her sister down during an argument, and a neighbor called the police. However, under Florida's domestic abuse laws, the authorities decide whether charges are warranted, not the victim. So witnesses told deputies that Camacho and Amy were arguing at their apartment when Camacho pushed her a couple times. Torres his wife headed for the parking lot, but Camacho followed her, pushed her some more. She had no visible injury. She didn't fall down, whatever. So he is arrested, though, and he's returned. He's still on probation, so that's a problem. A few days later, though, the charges are dropped by a judge.
Why?
Judge drops the charges when Camacho's wife claims she started the fight and would not testify against him. It was really my fault. I fell into a door, is what she said.
That's it.
Jesus Christ. She started it and wouldn't testify against him. So January 16th, 1996, War Memorial Auditorium, Los Angeles. He's good again now. He's good now again. They said, "What do you mean you're good?" He said, "Well, yes, I'm different now." This is from 1.5 years ago, before he's been arrested 3 times since then. He said, quote, "I still party, but I party with more balance. I'm more disciplined. I mix my pills and Coke and booze and keep them at a nice balance so I can go all night." You know what I mean?
A little bit of each.
Yeah, he said, "I've been through the headaches of using up a lot of cash flow because of lawyers trying to get me out of trouble." He says, "I'm a pay-per-view fighter. I should be back on pay-per-view." But lately, he's only had a couple of fights on the USA Network. He hasn't been on pay-per-view in a while. And he turned into kind of a joke. In the mid-'90s when he was fighting, it was like, oh, wow, Camacho's still around? Weird. You'd see him and you go, oh, he's still got the rat tail. He's still doing the dumb shit with his shorts and his hair. It just wasn't the same anymore, you know? Those people who were very 80s, if they didn't change, they looked real lame by the mid-'90s. Like you were another planet.
You gotta change with the times, and if you don't, then you end up going by the wayside, and then you're a goddamn joke.
Yeah, you either have to be like Johnny Cash and always have one look that spans the everything that's okay, or Frank Sinatra, a classic look that never changes, or you have to change with the times.
Vanilla Ice, and you eventually stop shaving the brick into your head.
And that's who he was. He was Vanilla Ice, but he still had the big swoop and the fucking 8-ball jacket and the giant pants and shit, and it's 1996. That's what happened. It wasn't working out for him. Right. He's hoping for a big money fight against the winner of the Chavez-Oscar De La Hoya fight, or against Pernell Whitaker. He said a fight against Chavez or De La Hoya would bring out the best in Hector Camacho. That's what his trainer says. It would also obviously bring him more money. And Camacho says that he's getting his shit together. He's going to be, he's all tightened up on his boxing. And he says, quote, "Nobody," but he's got to still party, though, because he says, quote, "Nobody wants a square macho." That's Hector's quote.
Nobody wants. Doesn't do blow and crazy shit.
A square macho. That's no fun. So he fights Sal Lopez, who's 17-1-1. This is an accidental clash of heads in the second round, and the referee calls it a draw. They both get cut.
Oh.
So it's called a draw, 57-3-1. April 96, he's in Texas fighting Wilbur Garst, who's 19-4-1. TKO win for Hector in the 7th. June 96 in Atlantic City, he fights Hands of Stone Roberto Duran. Another legend. Duran, little long in the tooth at this point. 96-11 for Duran coming into this fight.
Christ.
Yeah, he's about done here, almost. But this is a unanimous decision win for Hector. And July 11th, 96, Madison Square Garden versus Craig Houck, who's 55-30. TKO in the second round. That's Hector's 60th win.
Wow.
63-1. August 20th, 96, Madison Square Garden Theater. I don't know what the fuck that is. MSG Garden Theater. It's another small room, another side room. Who knows? He fights a bunch of them. Arturo Nina, who is 10-20-1. And the end of his career, he goes 3-19 and then finally retires.
How does he get a fight against Hector?
Hector's just looking for a punching bag, a tune-up, I guess. That's all I can think of. Because he maybe has a bigger fight coming up, but it doesn't seem like it. Unanimous decision in 10, obviously, for Hector. October 96, he fights Heath Todd, 32-10. Maybe the worst name I've ever heard. Heath Todd? A terrible name. TKO in the sixth round, 62-3-1 for Hector. So he's killing it. February 28th, 1997. This is the night before he is scheduled to fight Sugar Ray Leonard in a very high-profile fight. This is Leonard's comeback fight. Hasn't fought in a few years, okay?
Yeah.
Big deal. This fight would have been hot shit in 1987, but unfortunately, it's now 1997. This is, a little different than it was. So, this is from Randy Gordon again, the Ring Magazine guy. He says, quote, "The Macho Man, as sports fans have come to know him, was 24 hours away from stepping into the ring at the convention center against Sugar Ray Leonard. Drinking a bottle of water, Camacho sat on the couch with his feet up on an ottoman, looking totally relaxed and sounding as confident and brash as ever. He was 34 and past his prime, but had enjoyed one of the finest training camps ever. The great Ray Leonard, what was left of Leonard as a fighter at 40, had not. 40 Ray is at this point.
40 years old.
Camacho told me he was going to win the fight. I could see how he meant it. He could see I believed him. He also said he was going to win the big fight, that he could dominate Leonard, even knock him out. I could see he meant those words too. I could see he believed what he was telling me. He could see I didn't. He said he didn't think he could do it. He told me he was not the Macho Camacho of 87 anymore, but he quickly pointed out that it wasn't Sugar Ray Leonard of 87 anymore either. So, hey, he told me that the 1997 version of Hector Macho Camacho would be too much for 1997 Sugar Ray Leonard. He's a few years younger, and Sugar Ray's 36-2-1 coming into this fight. So,
wow.
Yeah, he was an Olympic boxer. That's why he was so famous.
Yeah.
He was famous from his first fight. He never did that whole, 20 fights anonymously in the middle of nowhere to build up his thing. He just went to the Olympics, and that was all of his thing. He came out with big profile fights right away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, good fighter. So March 1st, 97, TKO in the fifth round for Macho. He does knock Sugar Ray out. That is Sugar Ray's last fight. He goes, I'm 40 years old. I can't be having people punch me in the face anymore. This is crazy.
I'm pretty sure I watched that fight. Mm-hmm. And the vast majority of people there were for fucking too. Sugar Ray.
Oh, yeah. He was the comeback kid, and then Macho's all flamboyant, and Macho kicked his ass. 63-3-1, as well as the same night, that night, I believe, was there in Atlantic City. One of Hector's entourage, one of his posse, Maximo Vasquez, was arrested and charged with conspiring to distribute cocaine.
Oh, he was dealing there.
So, he had his buddy with him with a bunch of coke. So that was in the paper. August 1997, he's making speeches to kids now.
Fantastic.
All good. He's nowhere near good now, by the way. He's going to be arrested so many times. He said, I was just like y'all, is how he starts it. I was hanging on the streets. I even saw 6 psychiatrists. They couldn't even figure out what was wrong with me. He said, everybody has their time, and I had mine. The thing is to try to find something you're good at. As time goes on, you'll be all right. Okay.
Who told this motherfucker y'all?
He's been in Florida a while now. Maybe that's it.
He did
it's a
fight
Florida
in West
thing.
Virginia. You're right.
Yeah, he did that one fight in West Virginia could ruin you. Remember we stopped for food that time?
Yeah.
I was worried. Anything could have happened to us. Could have changed us forever, Jimmy. September 13th, 1997, the Thomas and Mack Center fighting a 25-0 Oscar De La Hoya.
Fucking
He ducks.
rad.
He ducks nobody. Goes for the biggest fights, the biggest paydays. He's got a huge balls on him here. This goes the distance as well. This is wild. Camacho gets knocked down in this fight once, which is a huge deal. He never goes down. 63-4-1 in a unanimous decision loss for Camacho. But De La Hoya said this way about it. He was very proud of himself. He said, listen, Chavez and Felix Trinidad couldn't knock him out or drop him. At least I dropped him.
Yeah.
He felt proud that he actually knocked him down. January 1998, charges are filed against him. March 1998, they're filed against him from January. Where Amy, his wife, files a complaint against him after he broke down a door in their home and threatened to destroy her car and the garage door.
Oh, you can't do that.
He said that she accused him of regular substance abuse and adultery in the complaint. She obtained a restraining order against him, but it expired last month after the couple failed to show up in family court. So she said that he hadn't bothered her since the temporary injunction was issued on January 20th, but now he came over kicking doors in, threatening her. Okay. March 1998, he's arrested for DUI. Guess what he's doing?
40 on the freeway?
Weaving with no lights on again.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Holy fuck, bro. You can't do that, man. So he's, Jesus Christ, he's at a bar, I suppose. I think this is. Yeah. He was at a bar. He spent several hours at La Carmencita there, and then he ended up stealing $20 from a patron and running out, which is strange. He left about midnight and was arrested shortly after 2 a.m. after a deputy saw him driving like a lunatic. He nearly fell as he tried to get out of his car, a Chevy Blazer, so it's not like he's in an 18-wheeler, right. And admitted drinking, of course, as well. The cop said Mr. Camacho smelled strongly of alcohol and slurred speech. His picture looks like he does not know where he is. He's been a fucking mess. So he's released from the jail about 2 p.m. the next day. He said he was groggy. He said, this is a cop, said, I don't know exactly what he ingested. He was just all fucked up. They didn't know what he was on. My Coke and booze is my guess.
Good
if
guesses,
if I had to have a quick guess here. He refused to give a urine sample, which means he'll lose his driver's license for a year automatically. The place he was at was a regular hangout of his. They display his fucking picture. They hang his autographed picture up. He's there all the time. And he took a $20 bill that a customer asked him to sign for the customer's cancer-stricken brother, and Hector just took the 20 and left.
What the fuck?
Will you sign this for my brother? He loves you. He's got cancer. All I have is this $20 bill. And Hector was like, yoink, and fucking ran away.
I will take this.
Holy shit. A guy named Pagan Santiago, he's the 59-year-old acting manager here. He was filling in. He's not even the whole manager that night. He told Camacho to give the money back. At that point, Hector punched this man several times in the stomach and chest with the sides of his fist. So he just showed him how easily I could fuck you up. Basically, just kind of gave him a pop. Like, you want to fuck with me? Leave me alone. So Camacho became increasingly rowdy, ripped a customer's pants. How do you rip someone else's pants?
I want these to be jeans so bad.
Me too. Up the side. How the fuck do you do that? Then he broke a beer bottle as he leaped over the bar.
What?
Imagine this scene. Hey, my brother's got cancer, man. Yeah, he's not doing real well. He's a big fan of yours. Would you mind signing this? This is all I have. Yoink. Give him that back. Pop. Fuck you. Rip your fucking pants. Smash a beer bottle. Jump up on the fucking bar. I'm Macho, man. What the fuck are you doing? How did this start?
This got crazy fast.
Wow. The guy who handed him the $20 bill, Juan Rivera, who's an auto mechanic trying to get an autograph for his sick brother. Poor guy.
This is last 20.
They said, what happened? He said, he just went off.
Yeah.
He didn't know what the fuck happened. He just started going batshit. So that is fucking hilarious. He ends up bonding out on, $500 or something. They let him bond out. He, admitted he was drinking, refused to take the blood alcohol test, and he's been a bit of a mess. He ended up, I guess, he agreed to the urine test. Then when they asked him several questions about drugs, he changed his mind and wouldn't give it to him anymore. Yeah. So the prosecutors somehow decide not to pursue DUI charges for lack of evidence on him.
Okay.
They didn't get the blood or piss out of him, so they never had any proof that he was fucked up.
We just breathalyzed the man. We just
he waited him out.
Yeah,
it's drugs. He's on all sorts of drugs. Yeah. I think it's mixed with the beer is the problem. So petty theft and battery charges, though, were also dropped.
What the fuck?
So this guy is just slippery, Teflon macho man. June 12th, 1998, Turning Stone Resort and Casino, Verona, New York. He fights Tommy Small, some middle-of-the-road guy, TKO in 6 rounds. August 11th, 98, Mikosuke Indian Gaming Resort in Miami. He fights Tony Menifee, who's 62-4. Hector wins the fight, unanimous decision. October 23rd, 98, back at the Mountaineer Casino. Can't get enough. He fights Ken the Cobra Sigurani, who's 22-2, and this is his last fight because Hector beats him. 1998, he has another son with Amy.
Oh, my God.
Another son. Stop, please.
There are so many kids.
Tyler is his name. Also in 1998, he appears on the Wayans Brothers show. Remember the Wayans Brothers show?
No.
Fucking Marlon and Sean? It was on for like 5 years. They had the Tribe Called Quest song in the beginning. No, they were
Talk
No,
shows?
it was a sitcom. No, it was a sitcom.
Oh.
They were, in a situation. They did their thing. They worked at a hotel. Remember the beginning had Eclectic Relaxation, the fucking Tribe Called Quest song? That was their fucking opening credit song.
Evidently have no idea about this show.
They had Tribe as their opening music, so that's hot shit. The show was kind of shitty show, but just Tribe in the beginning makes me watch it. I don't give a fuck. So he portrayed Manuel Hot Pepper Lopez.
Yeah. Was he a fighter?
He was. He staged a fight against Marlon Sucker Punch Williams, who's Marlon Wayans. That was the that was the point of it. November 1998, he stopped with driving infractions after a motorcycle accident.
Yeah.
Does he have a motorcycle license?
No.
Who the fuck knows? Probably not. He fled after crashing his motorcycle at 12:30 p.m. lunchtime. Middle of the day. He apparently was traveling south when he entered a construction zone, lost control of his 1998 Suzuki motorcycle skidded. Camacho was thrown onto the road. He was wearing a helmet. Good. He did suffer some road rash around his shoulders, which means he would have cracked his fucking skull open if he wasn't wearing a helmet. And he was seen then, he got up and was seen running from the area, quote unquote. Then the cop said, I later went to his residence, spoke with him, and charged him. So, stupid. You can't leave the scene of an accident.
Spoke with
he
him,
went to his house.
Road rash all over him, and, get in the car.
Get in the fuck. Well, he gives him 3 tickets, reckless driving, driving on a suspended license, and operating a motorcycle without endorsement. You're not allowed to even ride a motorcycle, dummy. The one lieutenant said he dumped his motorbike and afterward went back to his house and they had to go write him some tickets. That's what the lieutenant said. March 99, he's still fighting. Still.
Unbelievable.
Scott Smithy fights. Unanimous decision in 10. They're all going a long distance, too. June 18th, 99, Patrick P.J. Goosen. Okay, he's 19-1. This fight's a unanimous decision for Hector. 68-4-1. October 21st, 1999 in Washington, D.C., Manuel Esparza, 19-6-1, TKO win for Hector in 5, 69-4-1. November 27th, 99, Jorge Vaca, he fights who's 62-22, and this is a draw. It stopped in the 3rd round after, I believe, another accidental double headbutt. April 2000, in Detroit, Bobby Elkins, he fights. Listen to this shit. Bobby Elkins coming into the fight, 29-9, which is not bad. When he's finally done boxing, his record is 29-22.
He lost a lot.
He could not get that 30th win that he was trying for so badly.
Refuses to get it.
Fuck. Talk about just losing it. Going from decent to just, I can't win a fight. Wow. TKO in the 5th round. This is Hector's 70th win. 74-2 is his record.
Oh, my God.
70 wins, 4 losses, 2 draws. June 9th, 2000 in Verona, New York. Billy Fox he fights. This is Billy Fox's last fight, too. He's retiring people now. Unanimous decision for Hector. June 16th, 2000. This is a week later. What the fuck is up with that? Oh, no, this is July. I'm sorry, 16th. And he fights Terrible Tim Bryan. All righty. Terrible Tim gets TKO'd in the 5th.
Well,
it's a Terrible Tim TKO. Yep, that's right. 72-4. February 3rd, 2001 in Miami, TNT Troy Lowry, 24-1. Hector beats him.
Yeah.
Unanimous decision. Now he's an old man beating up and comers. It's fucked up. February 2001, he is arrested for outstanding child support.
Oh, he's not even paying.
Fucking dildo. March 4th, 2001, a mere month later. Here, let me set the scene for you, Jimmy, shall we? Everyone out there in podcast land. Picture it. Spanish Harlem, 2:45 a.m. The Latin Palace nightclub.
Yeah.
This is going to go well for old Hector here. At 2:45 a.m., officers from the narcotics unit searched the Latin Palace nightclub on 2nd Avenue near 116th Street and arrested Camacho and 12 others on narcotics violations.
Oh, shit.
Police said Camacho is holding 2 bags of cocaine. He was charged with 7th-degree criminal possession of a controlled substance. He had 2 half-gram glassine envelopes worth, he bought 2 20s, is what they said, in his pocket. Cops had been watching the club for a month, making undercover drug purchases from a customer and a bartender who were just selling coke out of there. After making a couple buys inside the bar, cops armed with a search warrant nabbed 4 people outside the club and 9 inside. 9 of the 20 people inside on drug-related charges. They said Camacho appeared very intoxicated and became indignant when detectives began to search patrons for drugs. I'm the Macho Man. How dare you?
Straight up indignant.
They said he balled up his fists, ready to fight. Then he was surrounded by several officers, which was more like 8. And after that, they said he, quote, opened his hands and went peacefully. It's like 2 at a time is one thing, but not 8. So Camacho had his $85,000 Jaguar parked across the street from the club. He was wearing black leather pants, a black turtleneck, and a shitload of gold, including his giant Macho chain dangling. One of the cops said, sorry, we'll go over that.
That is a fascinating choice in outfit.
It's a hilarious outfit. He's
pants, a turtleneck, and a giant metal gold chain.
He's dressed like a weird model, like with a gold chain. One of the cops said, quote, he looked like Mr. T.
Mr. Tiny.
Mr. Tiny T. So they said that, he's going. This is what he keeps doing. Now, Teddy Atlas, who was a big boxing commentator and was in the game for a long time, he said that this speaks loudly to the rumors that Camacho has wasted much of his talent. People have said because of his lifestyle outside the ring, he never reached his full potential. He's pretty fucking good.
I would say so, yeah.
In his prime, he was great. I mean, maybe he would have been better otherwise, but he was pretty fucking great. I mean,
I'd say he reached his full potential.
Yeah, he said, though, nowadays, he said his skills are diminishing. Atlas said people aren't lining up to watch Hector Camacho anymore. Nobody wants to pay money to watch the kind of people you have to put in the ring with him. Nobody will fight him. Right. He said, we put a couple of his fights on ESPN, too, and they helped me get a good night's sleep. They were so boring. The ratings weren't there, and that's the final bell for a fighter.
He fights on the deuce now.
That's it. June 2001, cocaine charges are dropped.
Oh.
The cops moved in with the search warrant to bust the club, but apparently the warrant did not allow the cops to also search the patrons who weren't specifically listed in the warrant, like the bartender and that one customer. Had the case gone to trial, they basically would have thrown out the bags of cocaine on him, and then they had nothing. So the prosecutor, the defense attorney said, by law, you can't just have a general search. I think the prosecutors knew that. They would have had a lot of trouble down the road with this case, so they dropped it. July 14, 2001. This is like Methuselah battling fucking Father Time here. July 14th of 2001, Pepsi Center in Denver, Camacho versus Roberto Duran.
Oh.
Again, literally 15 years ago, top-notch fight, but we are well past that now. Duran's 103-15 coming into this one.
Jesus Christ. And this is a big fucking arena, too.
Oh, yeah, the Pepsi Center's where the Nuggets play, isn't it?
Yeah, sure is.
Unanimous decision win for Macho in 12. He's 74-4-2 at this point. August 31st, 2001, mere month and a half later, he is arrested, obviously.
Yeah.
He's arrested by the Florida Highway Patrol. They get him at 6:05 a.m. on suspicion of driving while intoxicated.
Oh, boy. Still awake from the night
Jesus Christ. Yeah, he's had all sorts of problems. He said all this shit dropped they're talking about, but, now he's got this. 2001, he gets divorced also. Amy said enough.
She's out now.
Yeah, she said that he, quote, was never going to stop. He blatantly said, I like it. I love it. You met me like this, and I'm going to stay like this. I'm going to do blow and fuck girls while I drive that aren't you. That's bottom line.
I like it.
Sorry.
I love it. I'm starting to sing lyrics to a song, so I'm going to change it up real quick.
I like it. I love it. I want a gram of it. You know how it goes, the song, right? That's how it is. I want a gram of it. Piece of shit.
That's a Toby Keith song, dude.
It's awful. Fucking awful. Isn't it like a Chili's commercial or something? Which makes it worse, or Applebee's or some crap? I don't know. Some shit restaurant whose appetizers are the highlight of their entire fucking cuisine, which tells you it's a great restaurant.
Yeah. Have some egg rolls with corn inside them.
Yeah, and that's the best thing they have. Right. Yeah. When you just say steak, no one would eat a steak here. That's what that is. So
egg rolls with pulled pork.
Yeah, no good.
What?
So it's just all cabbage, nothing else. Where's the pork?
Cabbage and corn was supposed to have pulled pork.
Now he's shit out of luck.
Yeah.
The kids left. The wife's gone. He moved out. He's got kicked out of his house. His career is waning. He's getting arrested every other day. Things are not going well at this moment in time. He needs guidance is what he needs. He needs some kind of guidance. He needs to talk to somebody who's going to be honest with him and tell him something. And someone who loves him, someone who'd do anything for him. You know who he needs, Jimmy?
Who's that?
He needs Vinny Pazienza's ma. That's who he needs. That's the only person supportive enough. Yeah. And he goes over to her house to get cheered up, and she says, how is it you've come to arrive here? Oh, my God, Hector, what's wrong with you? So much talent. Your son, your middle son is adorable. Oh, my God, I want to eat up his cheeks. They're amazing. Please, wait. By the way, hold on. I have some leftovers you're going to take with you after I'm done yelling at you, but take them with you. Oh, my God, Hector, you're ruining your life. Please stop it. Oh, God, why are you wearing that? It's freezing outside. You're going to catch something. Oh, my God, Hector. Hector, please come back. Hector, don't leave. Hector, please, no. And then she explodes.
Yeah.
She just explodes. She's had it. She's too worried. It's all over with. And her head explodes. And Hector's like, wow, Italian mothers are nuts. I'm leaving. And he leaves. So he leaves to get in another fight. January 18, 2003. Otillo Villarreal here, 15-15.
Oh, that's a person. That's not a place.
No, it sounds like it. Yeah. He's at the Otillo Villarreal in lovely San Diego.
Nice, yeah.
No, it's in Fort Lauderdale. Okay. It's a dump. He TKOs this guy 9 rounds, 75-4-2. 2003, right away, he gets engaged.
What?
He gets engaged to a woman who he's been with for the last 5 years. Sound weird?
Yeah, it does.
It is. Why is that? Because he was married till 2 years ago? Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he's divorced. There's a woman named Shelley Salamasi. They end up being together for 15 years. We'll talk about it, though, because he's still got other relationships, ones that are very public, while he still has this woman also. It's bonkers. She lives in Detroit and just, like, flies in to see him and stuff, and they've had the longest-term relationship while he's married and other relationships. It's like a permanent gumar he has here. It's fucking weird.
Good for him.
They never get married, though, but they do get engaged.
Okay.
And will be for a long time. April 18, 2003, in Raleigh, North Carolina, he fights Irish Chris Walsh.
Yeah.
Jesus, very creative. 18-6-1. This is stopped in the 6th round, and it's a technical decision loss for him. There was some kind of cut, and it was not an accidental. Whatever happened, it's if you get cut too bad and you can't continue, you lose. So he ends up losing on a technical decision.
Mm-hmm.
So technical decision, 75-6-2 for Hector. Jesus, December 5th, 2003, Coconut Creek, Florida. Craig Houck again, which is the same guy he fought a while back. This fight, I'll read a description of it. It was an odd fight as Houck continuously turned his back on Camacho throughout the fight.
What is that?
What the fuck? Camacho had Houck in trouble in the first round before Houck caught an overzealous Camacho with a left hook and floored him, the third knockdown against him in his career. That's only the third time he's been knocked down in over 80 fights. Think about that.
Unbelievable.
Fighting Roberto Duran, Trinidad Chavez, De La Hoya, fuck everybody you can imagine. 3 times. He said Camacho bounced back up. It wasn't like a knockdown he had to sit there. It was like, oh shit, I fell down. I better pop back up again. He said Camacho bounced back up and battered Houck for the remainder of the round. He knocked Houck near the end of the first and eventually won by knockout in round 3. So he whooped this guy's ass. Just happened to get caught with a lucky punch and knocked him off balance. 76-6-2 there. July 3rd, 2004, Biloxi, Mississippi. Clint McNeil, who's 15-6. Unanimous decision win, 77-6-2. January 6th, 2005, he is arrested. Holy shit. Gulfport, Mississippi.
4 or 5 fights and then arrest.
Yeah. He to get some energy out, and then he's like, I got stuff to do. This is the weirdest arrest of them all, okay? January 6th, 2005, Gulfport, Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
All right. They arrest him at a casino because that's where they track him down. He didn't commit the crimes at the casino. He's charged with 1 count of commercial burglary. All right. He broke into a computer store.
Oh, shit.
He broke into a computer store called ZDI Computer Center. He he crashed through the ceiling tiles into the business like a fucking, like he's, Ocean's 11 here. The owners, Solomon and Samantha Wheeler, discovered their business had been broken into and ransacked. Someone had stolen 7 laptop computers and cash. They said, quote, whoever did this had to have held himself up to on the rafters to move through the building. It looks like the burglar fell right through the ceiling. So that's an interesting way to put it. Pictures taken by the Wheelers showed blood splattered on computers and walls. He was bleeding all over the place.
It's a long fall, man.
It is, but here's the part that bothered the Wheelers the most. There was urine soaking parts of Mrs. Wheeler's office. Quote, he actually peed in my fax machine and down around the carpet. Okay, I know that's terrible for those poor people, but I've never heard the words "he peed in my fax machine" put into a sentence before, so that's funny. I'm sorry. That's just random words. It's striking funny. Peeing in my fax machine.
A
what?
fax machine's got that it's got that phone area and then like the printer scanner piece for like you to send the fax.
He tried to fax the piss.
And then it's got that other side where where it comes out where the fax.
Yeah,
that's where he pissed.
I think he pissed on top. He's like, I'm going to send my piss to fucking my girl in Detroit right now. Turn your fax machine on, sweetheart.
Fax my pee.
Mm-hmm. Then her husband then continued with the lurid details. Quote, the only thing we could think of was maybe he fell through the ceiling and urinated in the process because everything from about head level down in that corner was soiled upon, and I had to clean it up. It was quite disgusting.
Head level, so he spun around with it aimed up.
He shot around being like, I'm the Macho Man, fucking swinging it, I feel like, right? Flamboyantly pissed. During the arrest, police found 10 ecstasy tablets on him as well.
Oh, my God.
Yep, and charging him with felony possession of a controlled substance as well as commercial burglary. These aren't good charges to get here. Police chief said that after they charged him with the burglary, they brought him back to Biloxi to face the other charge. He is being held on $75,000 bond. Also, the state's boxing commissioner says the arrest could impact his ability to fight in Mississippi in the future. And when they got to him, he was inside the Imperial Palace Hotel and Casino in Biloxi in a $35 room that wasn't even in his name.
Oh, my God.
Yep, with his pills, too.
That's depressing.
Not good. It's falling apart for him. Vinny Pazienza's mom needs to take him in, cook him, make him something good, fix it. July 9th, 2005, Convention Center in Tucson. Jesus Christ, it's getting ugly. Raul El Toro Muñez, he's fighting, 17-6. He wins it, does Hector, 78-6-2. So at this point, he's got a girlfriend, along with the girlfriend who he's seeing the whole time. He's got this is his showpiece, I'd like to call it. He's got a side piece and a showpiece. This is Bonita Money. Do you know who she is? You ever heard of her?
Bonita Money. Is she a singer?
No. She was an actress. She was in a couple videos, and then she's a producer. Now she's big in the weed scene, actually. She's big in the legal weed scene and a bunch of other things, but she is also in the Dr. Dre Let Me Ride video, which is interesting. She's also in the movie Lambada. Remember that terrible movie Lambada?
I don't
fucking
think I
hilarious.
saw it, but it's probably
it's hilarious.
Stomp the Yard.
It's so funny.
Yeah, Latin.
It's so funny. It's dancing. It's this weird dancing shit. So she's in that. She's also in Terror in Beverly Hills in 1989.
Yeah.
And then she's in Phoenix the Warrior in 1988 as a snake dancer.
Oh,
so
boy.
There's that. In 2003, she was an executive producer on Cradle to the Grave. Remember the DMX movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's executive producer in that. She also produced The Normal Life in 1996. She also, in 2005, before all of this, she was arrested along with her nephew, Louis Cash Money. His last name is Money, Louis Cash Money. And another man for kidnapping her estranged husband. According to the Associated Press, the group planned to force her estranged husband to testify on behalf of Louis Cash Money at a criminal trial. Their plan fell apart when they realized they forgot to bring his personal identification, the guy they kidnapped, and he wouldn't be able to get on a plane without it. So they can't kidnap him and take him somewhere. They don't have his fucking ID. It's all screwed up. So
she seems
that's
like a
her
party.
Well, they do party. Yeah. September 17th, 2006. They're both arrested. This is fucking... He met his match now. Both arrested on assault charges. Both of them.
Mm-hmm.
They're at... they got into an argument about 3 a.m. at the Paquita's Cafe in the Fairfield section of the Bronx. And the dispute spilled outside... And apparently, he started punching her while she fought back and scratched his face.
Hold on. So they did not get in a couples fight where they're fighting another couple.
No.
They beat the shit out of each other in the
street. Started in the restaurant. One of them said, "You want to go outside, motherfucker?" And they said, "Hell yeah, bitch." And they stepped outside. She was scratching his face. He was fucking punching her. And they were both holding their own, apparently.
Unbelievable.
It's fucking nuts, man. In the street.
That's a toxic relationship.
You think? You want to step outside, make something of it? Should never come up in a relationship.
That's ugly.
Holy shit. So Bonita ended up calling the police from inside the bar on the ground floor of the W Hotel. here to report the assault. They were both alleged the other had been the attacker, and they both had marks all over them. So it was clear that they both beat the shit out of each other. So they're both arrested for assault in the third degree, a misdemeanor, and at 8:50 a.m. There was no visible signs of abuse on either person. It just looks like both of them got in a scrap, like a little bit. Mark here, scratch there. At their arraignment, lawyers said they expect all charges to be dropped and both were freed without bail. On the way out, police asked him what happened, and Macho said, quote, "I didn't hit her. That woman's odd. She's a character." Really? He claimed the shit started when he went to the cafe there. It's in Parchester there, and he said that he is a frequent customer, and he knows that. He left Bonita money waiting outside in the car, and she got angry, even though, quote, "I went out and asked her to go in with me. She said I was disrespectful. She hit me in the head."
Okay.
He said, "I'll go and get the food." And then she said, okay. And then she saw him flirting or, talking to some waitress flirting. And then she said, "You disrespect, you want to go in there and talk to your waitress," and smacked him in the fucking head. He says, though, quote, "I love Bonita. It just got a little out of hand." And they're back together. Everything's fine.
Fascinating.
This guy's life is fucking insane, is it not? What a wild life this guy leads altogether. Fighting in the street in the middle of the Bronx with your fucking girlfriend, fist fighting with her. That's crazy. 2007, and I'd say that maybe, I don't even know who's abusing who. He's punches people. She's a kidnapper. I don't know who's fucking at fault here.
They're both willing to fight each other. That's too
and she's
much.
bigger than him too. Is the other part. So not that makes it any different, but these two are a special case. I'll just say because they're So 2007, he goes to court for the burglary of the computer store.
Yeah.
He pleads guilty to being under the influence at the time of the burglary. Also in that whole thing, he's found guilty of everything. It's no way to hide it. It's on camera doing all this shit.
He pissed
fingerprints,
in the fax
everything
machine.
else. He pissed in the fax machine. He is sentenced to you, Macho sir, may fuck off 7 years in prison, but suspends all but 1 year of the sentence and gives him probation for the rest of it. For that 6 years, and then orders him to spend a year under house arrest.
Okay, that's a pretty steep.
But he has permission to serve that in Puerto Rico if he wants.
Oh,
so they don't even have to stay here. Yeah, he served 2 weeks in jail after violating the probation. They let him back out again. They said if he violates any of the conditions set at sentencing, he'll have to serve the entire 7 years
in prison.
In prison, in a Mississippi prison.
Yikes.
He said, quote, "I am deeply sorry." That's all he said. That's it. He said he's deeply sorry, apologizes. The judge declined to hear a motion to dismiss the drug charge after they found the ecstasy. So he's also got he's got a trial set up for that as well. So he's pretty fucked at this point. 2008, though, he's out of jail somehow. He's at the Hall of Fame ceremony for the Boxing Hall of Fame. Yeah. He's standing there with Randy Gordon, his buddy with the articles. Right. This is from Randy Gordon. Quote, "At the International Boxing Hall of Fame induction weekend in 2008, I spent a few hours with Macho Man. At one point, he reached in his pants pocket and pulled out a small bag. It was filled with white powder.
Yeah.
Want some? Want some, he asked. You know I don't do that stuff, Hector. I can't believe you won't even try it, Hector said. I grabbed his wrist. I brought this for you. I grabbed his wrist. Put it away now, I said angrily. Damn, you're 46 years old. Isn't it time you grew up? He looked at me with puppy dog eyes. I'm sorry, Randy. This stuff just always makes me... Then Randy said, stop, I barked. Just stop. You're too good of a person, too much of a man, too much of a fighter, too much of a champion to let this evil possess you like this. Hector, as your longtime friend, I beg of you to stop, please. He put a hand on his shoulder. He looked as if he was going to cry. Quote, I can't promise I will stop. You thought this is the big moment. It's not.
I can't promise that, man.
but I promise I will try. And then he went and did a line of blow in the fucking bathroom and forgot about it. July 18th, 2007, Reliant Arena in Houston. He's still fighting. He's 46. It's enough.
Jesus Christ.
Perry the Punisher Ballard, who's 20-1 coming into this.
And a youngster.
A youngster. This is a TKO win for Hector, though.
Really?
In the 7th round, 79-6-2 is his record. And I'm trying to think. I believe that's it for him. He might have one more. Yeah, I think he has one more. December 31st, 2008, he sues Bonita. Yeah. Bonita Money for money. He said that she stole $125,000 from him, and he charges in a lawsuit. Says that she convinced Wachovia Securities to move money from his account there to her account at the Bank of America. The suit claims that he never authorized the move. Now he wants $1 million from the bank, too, to ease his pain, he said. So this is fucking funny. So the next fight, he's fighting 37-year-old Luis Ramon Campos in Atlantic City, but the New Jersey Athletic Control Board refused to grant Camacho a license in the state after watching his sluggish performance during a sparring session. So they had to move it to Florida, where they'll let fucking 90-year-old people beat each other with sledgehammers in the streets, and you can legally bet on it. They don't care. Come on down to Florida. We love brain damage. It's cool.
Surprisingly enough, Atlantic City is the beacon of morality here.
Right? We're talking about, this is what I mean. We're talking about Jersey. So this is not, we're not putting Jersey up on a pedestal. We're just saying, holy shit, Florida, get it together. So he fights at the Doubletree Hotel in Orlando. There's a bunch of Disney families there like, let's go down and watch those two Puerto Ricans beat the shit out of each other. What do you say, honey? Sure. We'll bring the kids.
How many ears were in the seats to watch that?
People with their fucking swim trunks and towel over their shoulder on the way to the pool, just stopping by to take a gander.
He's peeking in the door.
Yeah. This is he fights Yuri Boy Campos at this fight. So he's a good fighter. 92-14 coming into this fight.
Christ.
Split decision draw. One for each and fucking one down the middle. 79-6-3.
Uh-huh.
That now Hector goes on Univision's version of Dancing with the Stars. And he's dancing. He's eliminated in the first round. He's not a dancer. Finally, May 14, 2010. This is his last fight. Yeah. Finally. Civic Center in Kissimmee, Florida. Jesus, the only place he can fight. Versus Baby Saul Duran, who's 36-12. Goes the distance, but a unanimous decision loss for Hector. And that's that. He is done. It is Miraquian Baila. I don't know how the fuck you say that. Is the Dancing with the Stars show he was on. He then joined Univision Entertainment news program El Gordo La Flaca as a critic and a entertainment newscaster. February 12, 2011, he is near a housing project in San Juan where he is talking to a friend, or he's taking a friend to a nearby bar. He's driving a 2005 BMW X5.
Yeah.
He's attempted people try to carjack him. When he tries to drive away, they get shot at 3 times. And no, it doesn't hit anybody. He thinks it's a mistake. He said, quote, since everybody loves me, he didn't think the men realized who he was. That's what he said. They didn't know it was me. He didn't even file a police report. Not worth it.
3 shots.
3 shots. March 2012, he stars on a dating game show titled It's Macho Time, where women compete to be his girlfriend. It's Rock of Love, Macho style.
Yeah.
Who wants to get punched by Macho next is what it should be called. Who wants to be in a news article about domestic abuse? Jesus. April 3rd, 2012. Arrested again. So that's nice while the show's airing. He faces a felony count of child abuse after he turned himself in on a warrant from last year. This warrant alleges that, Jesus fucking Christ, Wow, they said that Camacho and his children, and they said the neighbors called the police because there was yelling outside the home, but there was nothing to it. Meanwhile, he's accused of throwing his 12-year-old son to the ground and stomping on him outside Amy's house. The police arrived. They didn't arrest Camacho, but later on it goes through the grand jury process and they charge him with it after a while. They said shortly after leaving the home, the complaint was filed alleging the actions against Mr. Camacho's teenage son. Mr. Camacho only recently learned of the complaint and accordingly volunteered to report to officials so that the matter can be resolved. He maintains a good relationship with his sons and would like to put all of his matters behind him, which is always his thing there.
Yeah.
According to the police report, Camacho's son told authorities that he thought his father was, quote, high on drugs at the time of the assault.
Probably.
And that Camacho reportedly was upset about a bag of money he thought he left at his ex-wife's house. Meanwhile, the kid ended up saying that he actually had the bag of money, but he hid it so his father couldn't take it and buy drugs because he didn't want his father to go buy a bunch of coke. That's what his kid was doing. He's 12, his kid. This isn't a grown man. He's a child.
Yeah.
They said Mr. Camacho immediately and voluntarily reported to the Orange County Sheriff's Department when he learned that a complaint had been filed against him regarding a domestic dispute that occurred a year ago. A family dispute took place at the home of Mr. Camacho's children, and a neighbor called police when the dispute entailed yelling. The police arrived, but did not at that time file a complaint. Now, holy shit, I feel bad for his kids at this point. You know, it's not a good day to be Hector Camacho right now. It's just a lot of stuff going on. It's crazy. So I feel bad for him. I feel bad for his son, but not nearly as bad as I feel for Hector Camacho, VP of Workforce Development and Dean of Admissions at Reach University in San Francisco. This guy went to Stanford.
Yeah.
Vice president. I'm proudly descend from generations where we worked the field. I don't know what the hell he's talking. Okay. Hector Camacho, mailroom services at Hunter College in Bronx, New York. There you go. Hector in New York and the Bronx, a little farther uptown. Hector Camacho, assistant vice president at Fifth Third Bank in Chicago. He went to DePaul University. Hector Camacho, engineering manager at Spectral Labs Incorporated in Amherst, Massachusetts. Hector Camacho, holy shit, head of people and retail at Glossier Inc. He went to Penn State University, human resources guy there. So a lot of Camachos out there.
Plenty with great jobs.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy. So he goes to court for the abuse here. Now, I'm going to read from this article because it's wild. During the hearing, the judge repeatedly scolded Camacho and his ex-wife, Amy Camacho, after she insulted him and he flipped her an obscene gesture.
He's flipping his ex-wife off in
because she's
court.
Talking shit.
Yeah.
Camacho's attorney said the bitterness has everything to do with the child abuse case, but Camacho said it has to do with money. Prosecutors wanted the judge to revoke Camacho's bond for repeatedly trying to contact his now 13-year-old son. However, the judge did not revoke Camacho's bond. He did order the former champ not to contact the son he's accused of beating. During the hearing, Camacho jumped up in the court when his son Christian testified that his mother grabbed a knife for protection after Camacho had beaten his little brother. Stay calm, please, the judge said to Camacho. I am sorry, Macho said. Camacho also acted up after his son insulted him. What a son, Camacho said, after his son said he was high on drugs. So the judge said, Mr. Camacho, and Hector said, I love him. And the judge said, quiet, please. Shut the fuck up. We don't care. So Camacho told them that Camacho stomped on him and tried to punch him. But the defense said his story is questionable. Camacho said his ex-wife stole thousands from him, and that's what the case was about. Amy said, quote, I did not take anything from him. Ms. Camacho, stop. We're not here to try this case today, the judge said. This is just for pleas and initial thing. Camacho left
We're not presenting evidence right now.
No, this is not what this is. And you're not even on the stand. You're out there. What are you doing? As he left the court, he talked shit about his ex-wife, saying that she lives the good life thanks to him, and he called her a crook.
I know the feeling, Act.
Then Amy called him an animal, and he called her a thief, and they went home. So this is nice. Jesus Christ. Man.
That's the best.
So his trial is set for September of 2012. Amy Camacho said that he used to rough her up all the time when they were married. And obviously we know that he's got some problems. Right. So he goes to hang out in Puerto Rico. That's where he's going to go hang out here. He spends his time here in his hometown where he was born. Yeah. He's partying, going to strip clubs, and, quote, living the fast life of drugs, alcohol, sex, and jail. That's his life. Almost 50. That's what his son, Hector Jr., says in the documentary. That's what he was doing down there at this time. They said that his friends and family tried to get him to leave Puerto Rico and come back to New York because he's ripping it. He's like a college kid down there who's just got like an inheritance.
50 years old, just going crazy.
Going batshit at 50. So one of his friends said, this is Gonzalez, the bodyguard guy, we're like, get out of Puerto Rico, Macho. He goes, you know what? I want to get out of here, man. I really do. But you can't force someone to fight. There was no stopping him. He was just partying down there. November 20th, 2012, Hector and his friend are sitting in his friend's Mustang outside a bar in his hometown when there's several men come up to them, but shots ring out.
Oh, boy.
Camacho is shot in the face. Hector's shot in the face. His friend is shot in the head.
Oh, my God.
The driver of the car, Adrian Mojica Moreno, who was Camacho's childhood friend, is killed on the spot instantly. Police say that Camacho is shot once. The bar was called Azuquita in the city there. They're sitting out there. They shoot Hector, too. He's unconscious. When the police come after the shots ring out, they find Hector has 9 small bags of cocaine in his pocket and a 10th that was open.
Oh, no.
So they had a bunch of coke on him just hanging out in the car. They were doing coke in the car before they go back in the bar to drink more. That's all. Camacho was rushed to the hospital where doctors initially said the bullet passed through his jaw and lodged in his shoulder. They said that the bullet damaged three of the 4 main arteries in Camacho's neck and broke 2 vertebrae, which could leave him paralyzed if he is to survive this whole thing.
Through the neck into the shoulder. Holy shit.
Pierced his jaw, fractured his 5th and 6th cervical vertebrae, lodging in his right shoulder, forming a lesion to his carotid artery, that restricted the blood flow to his brain. At one point, the doctors announced that he's going to be okay, but he might be paralyzed. Mm-hmm. Then that day, he suffers a cardiac arrest during the night, and after that, he's brain dead.
Oh, my God.
So this was on life support. So his mother comes down there. Once he's brain dead, the doctor said, quote, his recovery would be a miracle. Medically, there's nothing more that can be done. So his mother comes down there, and there's people having vigils outside for him. One of his friends said, it was one of his representatives said, this guy is a cat with 9 lives. He's been through so much. If anybody can pull through, it'll be him. But he's he's brain dead, right. And remains on life support for 3 days until his mother finally says okay after the cardiac arrest, and they pull him off life support, and he dies. And that's it. Camacho is dead.
Whoa.
Yeah, there's that. So
what a terrible way to die.
It's fucking crazy, man.
And he called it.
He knew it. He knew it. He knew it. He knew it. He knew it. He knows he pisses people off. Mm-hmm. So the reaction, one of his friends, Juan Laporte, who's also a boxer, he says that he was always like a brother, always getting into trouble. He's a good human being and a good-hearted person. A lot of people think of him as a cocky person, but that was just his motto. Inside, he was just a kid looking for something. He said the people around him didn't have the guts or the strength to lead him in the right direction. There was no one strong enough to put a hand on his shoulder and tell him how to do it. Well, he didn't have a father, really, that hung around, so that's why. He didn't let anybody take that role. He said that one of his friends who flew from New York to Puerto Rico said that just hours after this guy was released from prison on a murder sentence, he received a call from Camacho, who was waiting outside his apartment in a black Porsche.
Oh.
He said, come down, I'm taking you shopping. Because of him, man, I got what I got today, pointing to pictures on his smartphone of his daughter. He said, because of Hector, I stopped the drug scene. He's helped so many people. Mm-hmm. He bought all of your drugs so that you didn't have to sell them anymore. Julio Cesar Chavez said, even though people say I beat him easily, it wasn't that way. He was a very fast fighter. He faced everything, and it was very hard for me. So that's a big deal. Chavez also said he revolutionized boxing. It's a shame he got mixed up in so many problems. That's a big compliment from Julio.
Yeah.
Don King said the Macho Man was a promoter's dream. He excited boxing fans around the world with his intimidable style. He was a nice, amiable guy away from the ring. You think it's been crazy so far? Here comes his funeral, Jimmy. Buckle up, everybody.
Oh,
holy fuck. Hundreds of people are there. They hold him like in state, basically, like at this gym, this arena, so people can look at him and everything. He wore white along with a large gold crucifix and the Macho necklace, of course, as well. Hundreds of people are taking pictures, doing all of that. The first people to come up were members of his immediate family, including his mother, who wept openly and fucking, sobbed, "They killed him, they killed him." Right. After the family came a cross-section of people, people from Puerto Rico that knew him, elderly people, all sorts of people. They said, road workers are there paying their respects. As the service began, hundreds of people stood and clapped for nearly a minute. Someone in the crowd yelled, "What time is it?" And the crowd yelled, "It's Macho time." Oh, so they were doing like wrestling shit with him. Yeah. The secretary of the U.S. Island Territory Sports and Recreation Department for Puerto Rico said everybody loved him here in Puerto Rico. He's one of those athletes who transcended the barriers of his country, not only for his skill inside the ring, but his personality. So hundreds of people are there. Above the casket, there's a large screen that showed some of his big fights, highlights of his fights. This is when the funeral gets interesting, okay? A woman shows up claiming to be Camacho's girlfriend.
Hell yeah.
And gets in a fist fight with his sister. Okay, this is amazing.
Yes.
At the funeral. Cynthia Castillo, pissed off that the Camacho family members, she was mad at them when she arrived. She showed up, according to this, wearing a bright pink T-shirt with a photo of Camacho on it. She leaned down and kissed him in his coffin.
Oh, my God.
A lot of people do that. You're not Italian or Spanish of any kind. That's very normal. And
that's a thing?
They take pictures, they kiss it's all that shit.
Kiss the corpse.
Kissing and pictures are a big thing. Pictures are big because you got to send them.
The picture, yeah, I get the picture.
My grandfather, Phil Muerte, on the back. I remember that. I was like, he's in a coffin. I think they understand he's dead. I would hope. You didn't have to put that Phil Muerte on the back of the picture. I'll never forget that from my grandfather.
Kiss the corpse.
Kiss the corpse. So she did that. Then this woman entered the designated area reserved for the close family.
Yeah.
This pissed off Camacho's sisters, especially Gloria Fernandez, who started arguing with Castillo. They end up taking their scuffle outside. They have to be separated physically by police because they're fighting at the funeral. Yeah. She claims to be the most recent partner of Camacho and that the family attacked her for no reason. She said, "I am Macho's current girlfriend, and anyone who doesn't like it will have to swallow it. They attacked me, and that can't happen. They should be grateful because I was there with him."
Okay.
Wow. Castillo was encouraged to leave the wake while the sister went back inside. The police were like, "You should probably leave." So then it was normal. So then they take him home to be buried in the Bronx. That's where he's buried, okay? His kids want him buried down there, but the mom wants him buried in the Bronx, and they're going to allow grandma's thing here. So it gets even crazier in the Bronx, okay? Mom had to be dragged kicking and screaming from Hector's grave after she refused to leave when the service ended. This is so Italian. I know they're Puerto Rican, but it's so similar. It's frightening to me when I hear things like this.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that they don't let you. They don't let you watch while it's being put in the ground. Like that's not a thing usually.
They got stuff now to do. That's you leave and then they have a job. She flailed her arms and fought back the mourners who tried to grab her. She was swinging at people as she tried to return to her son's casket before noon. She was screaming, my star, before collapsing and being carried away, her arms outstretched in a prone position. But moments later, the brother who was in the limo she was carried to popped out yelling, cardiac, cardiac. An ambulance came, and she's unconscious at this point. An ambulance comes and gives his mother oxygen and takes her away in the ambulance. Once she gets there, they realize she suffered a severe panic attack and made herself pass out. But she didn't have a heart attack. But this is fucking crazy. Camacho's son, Christian, also got mad and said and yelled at somebody else that he didn't like and said, how could you do this to me? I'm his son. You're the devil. I don't know what's going on here. Camacho, so there's more to this, by the way, here. 300 people at the service in the Bronx with all this. Another woman shows up.
Hell yeah. Now we're talking.
His son walked into the church, looked at his father's clothes casket. All this was going on. Okay, Shelly. Remember Shelly from they got engaged to 10 years ago? She shows up from Detroit saying farewell, that she said she spent Christmas with him last year and has known him for 16 years. Macho, I owned his heart, she said. I'm sure eventually we would have wound up together. It's been 15 years. What makes you think he's going to marry you? It ain't happening. She said that they've had a long-distance relationship, but they'd spent time together just a few months ago. She dissed the two girlfriends back in Puerto Rico who began swinging at each other. She said he would have been very embarrassed by that. He would have been thrilled by that, first of all.
Loved it. Yeah.
He would have loved that shit. He would have started putting money on it. So the mother then announces that the police said they have 3 men in custody, suspects, for the murder of. They're trying to piece together a motive. She said they don't have all the evidence yet, but soon they will. No arrests are made right then. Okay, that's 2012. 2014, Hector Camacho Jr. writes a collaboration book about his comic book called Macho Dad, in which Camacho is portrayed as a superhero. Yeah. He's Hector. I've seen that, actually. June 2016, inducted into the Boxing Hall of Fame, as he should be. Yeah. As far as boxing goes, he gets it. He deserves that. October 20th, 2020, another book was written about him called Macho Time, The Meteoric Rise and Tragic Fall of Hector Camacho. December 2021, Shelly again, remember her? She's back again. She published a book of their real-life story called The Lady and the 10-Time World Champ, Going the Distance with Hector Macho Camacho. That was released December 1st, 2021. March 2022, I'm so happy we waited to do this story.
Yeah.
March 2022, people are finally arrested for his murder 10 years later. Yep, the first suspects arrested nearly a decade after. 5 men are accused of slaying him, they say, and 3 of the suspects were serving federal sentences for unrelated crimes and were flown in from Florida as a part of what police called Operation Knockout. The 4th suspect was arrested in the pre-dawn hours in the same city where Camacho was killed, emerging with only a towel wrapped around his waist, just minutes after police with long weapons surrounded his house and knocked on the window. A 5th suspect remains in Puerto Rico for an unrelated case. The suspects, identified as William Rodriguez, yes, his name is William Rodriguez, Luis Ayala Garcia, Joshua Mendez Romero, are being held on $800,000 bond. The 4th suspect is being held on $300,000 bond. And the 5th suspect, Juan Figueroa Rivera, must be the trigger man because he's being held on $1 million bond. Camacho's mother thanks the police. She said, they gave me justice. I can sleep in peace. I can eat and drink a little cup of coffee in the morning now.
5 men took to murder
They said
him.
2 others, too. They said
Really?
2 other suspects were killed in other unrelated events in 2013 and 15. Hope that's your
Holy
lifestyle.
shit.
Yeah. So his mother also walked into the Puerto Rico's Department of Justice and raised her right fist and said, justice has been done. Then in June 2022, a judge dismissed the case against all 5 suspects.
What the fuck?
Prosecutors requested a second opportunity to have their case heard, adding that they have contacted authorities in Florida for help since they believe the witness is now there. The ruling comes 3 months after the Puerto Rico's Justice Department announced the accusations against them there. So officials said 2 other suspects were killed. That's it. It's dismissed. No justice for Hector at all in his death. A crazy fucking ending to a crazy life. It matches his life. And that is Hector Macho Camacho. And we didn't even scratch the surface, honestly.
The guy was, what a story his life is.
It's just crazy, man. There's so much. This could have been a 4-parter. If we weren't ending the show, we would have made a 3-parter out of this or something, because he had a lot going on in his childhood and all this shit. The book details it, but crazy shit. Thank you for listening to that. If you liked it, I don't know. Tell a friend or something, or not. We don't give a shit. Do what you want. But definitely head over to shutupandgivememurder.com and get your tickets. There's different dates. November the 28th is a pre-sale. November the 29th is like a sale. You need a code. Check out our website, shutupandgivememurder.com. It'll explain everything to you there. Tour dates going on sale. Let's go run through them real quick for 2023 for Small Town Murder. February 10th in Cleveland, February 11th in St. Louis, March 23rd and 24th in Seattle, 2 nights there. March 25th in Portland, Friday, May 5th in Detroit, May 6th in Pittsburgh, July 15th in San Diego, July 28th in Salt Lake City, July 29th in Denver, August 11th Minneapolis, July 29th Denver, we said that already, August 11th Minneapolis, August 12th Chicago, big, awesome, beautiful place too.
Yeah.
September 8th Atlanta, September 9th Charlotte, October 6th Philly, October 7th Washington, D.C., New York, Boston, Milwaukee, Phoenix, coming at you soon.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out. Those are coming any second now. So
Very soon,
we got those. Patreon.com/crime and sports is where you can continue to always listen to Crime and Sports. We'll always be there for you there. Yeah. And anybody $5 or above, you get access not only to all the new shows, but access to the whole back catalog of bonus episodes.
Yes.
Over 150 of them there. You get every other week, 1 Crime and Sports, 1 Small Town Murder, and that's every other week, so you get 4 a month. And you get access to both of them. It's good shit. This week, what we have for Crime and Sports, all the shit Ben Roethlisberger's been accused of.
There's so much.
It's a lot, and it's pretty gross stuff, and he seems to just skate by on that. So we got to discuss into detail of why that is. Then for Small Town Murder, it's the prisoner dating game.
Yeah.
You're not a new listener. You know what the prisoner dating game is. Jimmy's going to pick a prisoner, hoping it's not a pedophile while I try to sneak one into the deck. That's how it works. It's a violent felon edition of the prisoner dating game. Watch Jimmy make a terrible decision that doesn't really matter because it's fake. It's so much fun.
Pick a pedo, any pedo.
That's right. Yeah, pick a pedo, any pedo. It's but there's all sorts of murderers in there.
Yeah.
That said, patreon.com/crime and sports. Get them now. And, of course, get your shout out. But first, you want to follow us on social media for those tickets as well. You can get updates there. We are at Crime and Sports on Twitter and Facebook, at Small Town Murder on Instagram. Right. And I think it's time, Jimmy, to hit me with these names. I got to hear the names of wonderful people. Wonderful, wonderful people who would never, ever, in a million years, I don't know, hang out outside a bar and wait to shoot us both in the face while we snorted cocaine off the dashboard of a Mustang. Never, ever. Jimmy, hit me with those names.
This week's executive producers are Karen Lewis, Kevin Pisters, Alex Hopper, Jordan Bennett, and happy birthday, Carol Feely Vario. I think it's Vario. Carol, happy birthday.
Hey, Carol. Probably Vario, like Paul Vario, the gangster.
Yeah. Other producers this week are Corporal Carl Kirshner, Hannah Quinn, and her pup Kunioki.
Wow.
Kunioki.
Hey.
Liz Vasquez, Emmy Award winner Stymie, Vincent Barbarino, Fat Penguin, and a ruler from the Blues Brothers, David Shitbreath, and the Shitbreath Family Foundation. Happy Hour in Big Spring, Texas. Janice Hill, Dan Normal. Dan's upset that he mixed up Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Reno 911.
He's the one. Yes,
yeah. He didn't realize.
Definitely. I've never watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine for 2 seconds.
I saw it. I saw like 2
on a plane
episodes.
for 2 seconds, and I was hoping that we would lose cabin pressure and we couldn't watch it anymore. It was terrible. But Reno 911 is fabulous. So yes,
it's so good. God, it's so good.
You are right about that.
Sharon Jones, Logan O'Reilly, Joseph O'Connor, Joey Graciano, Nicholas Rogers, Jeremy Inskeep, Carlos Serrano, Tamara Sagier, Aisling Warren, Rebecca with no last name, Bailey Durnell, Karen Grimm, Ryan Union, Ryan, nope, that's Aaron Newton, Brian Stacy Clement, yep, Shannon Exley, Leah Merrick, Nicole Nelson, Samantha Cavallero, Jennifer Harder, Rebecca, nope, that's Beth, Rockefeller, Mackenzie Robertson, Steffi, Melissa Thomas, Laura Liu, Tara Farber, Aaron Richards Wilhelm, Nubs with no last name, Sarah Cowbo, Sarah Newman, I think, Ariel Hopkins, Jenny Newman, Marilyn Brandfast, I think. I'm doing my best.
You're killing it, Jimmy.
This is all I've got. Tina Stable, Aaron Hafner, Lee Zeiseldorf, Steve Brown, Andromeda McNellis, Catherine Carragher? No, that's not right. Nanette with no last name, Catherine Madrid, Rebecca Hibbs, Renee Carlson, Jenna Augustine Atwater, Chio with no last name, Ngozi Mychenivituber. That's not right. Ben Simmons, Shelley Reynolds, Ariana Chirola, Morgan Thompson, Carl Humer, Krista Gibson, Natasha Danielle Thompson, Kelsey Helsing, Matt Mosier, D with no last name, Crystal Gardner, Sharon Ferguson, Michael Bacon, Barbara Murphy, Susan Bumpus, Wolfie with no last name, Sherilyn Sheehy, Carrie Morrow, Ashley Rigby, Colin Mulligan, Rebecca Lynn, Tori Beatty, Allison, you got this, Jimmy Ashworth, Rebecca Williams, Kristen Keelan, Jennifer with no last name, Zachary Casey, Jody, 72, John McElwraith, Teresa Richards, Fish Season, Catherine McMains, Tu Nguyen, Jacob Bandy, Jessica Marchial, Travis Cobb, Allison Reynolds, Felice Scholes, the Doc's daughter, Haley Joseph, Samantha Mosier, Gabrielle Yeasel, Jason Rotgun, Nick Knutson, Kelsey Taffler-Ferro.
Yeah, I'm sure that's right on the money. Sounds good.
Corey Ann Kelly Fowler, Nicole Stuhlberg, Erica Vivereros, Kathleen Schmidt, Maggie Snively, Amy Flaherty, Lacey Spigarelli, Joseph Aisler, Calvin B., Taylor McGregor, Lucy Antonelli, Jeremy Wilson, Joseph, nope, that's Stephen, but Amy Frasco, Shay Brannon, Joel Pinche. That can't be right. Hugh Trong, I think. Alyssa Hurt, Jose Gaspar, Lisa with no last name, Mary Cloer Doss, Dylan Dickinson, Kate Nye, Ashley Hay, Circa Palkala.
Wow.
Kim Thielen, Shelley Dages, Dags, do you like Dags? AJK, John Merker, wow, Ariel Cohen, Kristen Weston, Rob Hodling, Inspections by Vicky Terry, Andy Beal, Nick with no last name, Whitney Allen, Kendra Larson, Davon Brown, Madeline Lee, Melanie. Melanie Harvey, Jolene with no last name, David Nadelinger, Jennifer Ebert, David Dempsey, Richard Somerville, Robert Clark Bancroft, Kristen with no last name, Suzanne Rackham Nakani, Chase Weir, Alex Wickham, Scott Gross, and Jonathan Kyle. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, everybody, from the bottom of our hearts. We honestly appreciate all that you do for us. Hope you're loving the bonus episodes. We're having a blast doing them, and can't wait to find out about the grossness of Roethlisberger and who Jimmy's going to end up with. If you want to follow us on social media as human being, individual people, you can do that very easily. Just go to shutupandgivememurder.com. The links are right there. Yeah. You can follow us, no problem. You can get the show, the live shit, everything right in one spot. Yeah. Keep doing it. Keep coming back week after week, but not too many more weeks. Just a few for Crime and Sports. And a few more times we get to say live from the Crime and Sports studios. We will see you next week.
What?
If you like Crime and Sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.